All right, Sobe, you want to do an intro for our guest?
I will. So with all the classic talk and everything going on, we've been touching on nothing but the bass world. But as we enter a new season in the Midwest, we enter spring and open water. We have on a phenomenal, I would say world-renowned, musky and trophy walleye guide.
Pike fisherman.
And recreational pike fisherman, I would say. Yeah, he's recreational pike angler.
That's what he does on his off day.
Harvester, really. A purebred harvester.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Married to one of the
He keeps track of musky slot limits so that he can keep them. You know.
Yes, yeah. Married to one of the most badass PTB guests we've had on to date, and just an overall badass, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Doug Wegner.
Welcome,
boys.
Give him a clap. Give him a clap.
Boys.
Wow.
Oh,
that was incredible. I think you got something for Mercer down south. I think that was way too good.
Oh, no. I can't even get on Mercer's level of getting in those folks' faces and rattling off those stats. That's shout out Mercer and his podcast, by the way, too, and his performance.
I do got to say, I'm glad we have Doug on. It has been a long, 2.5 years that we've waited for him to be able to come and defend himself from Jesse's onslaught of an episode.
And it's been a lot of back and forth. Like his team and our team, we've been talking. We couldn't, settle on a rate for us to pay him to get him on. He was like, he way highballed us, and we're like, no. Then we landed bigger sponsors, and then we could pay for it. And then he got the bag, and that's how we got him on this podcast here tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Unreal. I wish that was true. That was true.
Did you on a real note, did you ever listen to that episode to what Jesse said about
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I was pretty fucked up, to be honest. So
like every time it's like I never get asked to do the podcast first. It's always my wife. And then I just
damn it.
There's no going back. Like you can't go back. No. I don't even want to bring it up again. I don't want it to even be talked about.
Don't worry, we will.
I hope they just didn't watch it and just let me. Yeah, I'll introduce myself. Thank you. She's ruthless, man. It's horror. It's bad. And
but you signed up for that.
She steals all my friends. All my friends like her way more than they like me. I just accepted my place.
That's fair. At least you already
fair.
Know,
yeah.
You're gonna become a fan favorite. I love how out of the gate he just immediately goes, she steals all my friends.
Steals all my friends, steals all my fans, steals everything.
Everything.
No, it's always been. I mean, whatever. I live in my wife's shadow. She has a way bigger social media following than I do. She's a way bigger deal.
Jesse is,
and it's really not even close, really.
But you, Doug, circling back here.
Yeah, Doug, you're cool too. Doug, you're cool too.
Yeah, Doug, you're cool too. We're different route on this interview. This is going to be a Doug hype up interview. We were going to tear him down.
Someday we may even post this one day.
Yeah, someone in these comments, please tell him he's cool as well. I mean, it can't just be us three.
Yeah. So, guys, quick, Doug, you can't listen. So cover your ears real quick.
We just shit on him like Jesse.
So, guys, we can't have the Doug roast episode. His self-esteem seems at an all-time low right now. We should probably just hype him up. This one,
okay,
Jesse's on there just smashing the like button.
Yeah. Bam, don't bring up the shirtless pig thing.
Oh my God. She told that story?
I'm grabbing a beer off that.
Oh my God.
Every
time.
You are listening.
I love too that you say every time as in this isn't the first time.
No, it's not. Like you don't understand. Like I've done I don't know how many of these, and I swear, they always ask my wife first. It's like why? And then it's too far gone. I can't go back. And then I don't even want to bring it up. I don't want to talk about it.
It's a difficult life you're living, dude. I don't know.
Oh, Doug, we'll go back to the beginning though of this with Jesse, and then we'll obviously get into you being a hammer and everything. But
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But no, what's kind of funny about this though is we're talking about Jesse now. I was with you when you first started. Well, you were first starting to talk to her online and everything because you guys were Insta DMing and stuff, basically, weren't you?
Yeah.
And me and Will and Rello were down in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Remember we got you really shit-faced on screw-ups?
Dude, I'd never known what a screw up was until the Minnesota boys came to town. And let me tell you, those fuckers hit hard.
And we weren't catching any trout.
No,
so we drank
zero.
a lot. We drank a lot.
That makes
I
it
was-
taste even better.
Oh, it was so good. I was fucked by 11 in the morning. I was done.
Yeah, most people listening to this know Doug normally just fishes all day. Like he doesn't drink very much. He drank a lot those 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah. I still don't. That was, you guys got me. Got me good. It was fun. We had a good time. But yeah, that would have been,
I think we averaged a fish a day.
yeah, that's another story. But yeah, that was 2017 is when I started talking to Jess.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wild.
God, that was 8 years ago. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Do you ever
Like,
think
literally.
back and go that like it feels like that wasn't that long ago?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I'm going into my 7th year of guiding. It's just like, where did
Wow.
that go?
Yeah, you weren't even full-time guiding yet when we came out there.
No.
We were out on the ice and you told me, had you met her at a Toronto show or something?
I met her at Schaumburg, Chicago. It was a
That's
show
what
in
it was.
Schaumburg show, yeah.
Yeah, and you were like, yeah, I'm chatting with this chick. And then we were like, who's that? And like, I don't think any of us knew who Jessie was yet. Because at that point, she was still in her like being on The Bachelor and shit. She wasn't
Yeah.
into the whole fishing thing, really.
Yeah, I mean
Fully,
her parents had the resort, but like she didn't have her little fishing, I call it a glow up or a blow up, whatever. But yeah, no, she was a big deal. I mean, I'm her biggest fan, hands
Yeah.
down. Like we give each other shit, but I'm so proud of her. She's done so many amazing things. And like now her marketing business is just crushing it and she's doing what she loves. And my chick can figure eight a muskie with the best of them, let me tell you.
And
That's
just
badass.
you saying that you've been a guy like guiding now for 7 years, that's incredible. Like it just feels, I mean, like in 3 years, you're gonna be like, I've been guiding for 10 years. I've been guiding for a decade.
Dude, I hit 30 last year. Like how? I'm 30 years old. What the fuck?
Yeah, I felt that. I turned
No.
32 in August, dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
crazy.
wild. But no, yeah. So it was kind of cool. Like, yeah, because I went straight into full time. I was working construction and doing the gig, and I'd plan on guiding part time. And then I had the opportunity to work for a guy in Green Bay full time and just went for it and worked there for 2 years and then left. Left in 2020. That was fun. First year on my own, and we like weren't allowed to fish for 2 months.
And then I came and I stayed with you for a week.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, that would have been what, around Memorial Day? That was right around
Yep.
Muskie opener, right?
Yep.
I think that's would have been.
Yeah.
That would've been.
Yeah. I think you might have came in 21, but regardless, yeah. Lots changed.
I feel like
No,
that's
I came in 2020. I
Okay.
100%. It was because it was the year I lost my job. I came out. Yeah, because then Frank bought me a drone
Oh, damn.
for me to film with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And then Frank was out there too. We went smallie fishing. Yeah.
Good.
wow.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's a part of your story that isn't told that much. Obviously, you're a premier guide, but what were you doing right before you were guiding? Or I guess like give me the last 3 years before you started guiding.
Well, I started guiding when I was 22. So 23. Yeah. So I was working construction, came out of high school, was just a trades guy, went into the trades. Whatever. Didn't go to college, didn't know where I went to college, didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just went to work and got in the trades, got an apprenticeship, worked through that, and basically completed that. And right when I did that, I had like a stellar summer on Green Bay muskie fishing. I live 2 hours south of Green Bay, but I fished up here from basically fishing opener when our bass season used to be closed. Like we'd do walleyes in the spring and then fish bass and then muskies and whatnot. But yeah, just like loved it up here. I would come up here on weeknights and drive up after work and just had like a crazy good year in 2017 for like all the species. And I don't want to say like I made a name for myself, but like got to be friends with some locals and knew some dudes and made friends with some guys and kept in touch with some people and ended up just getting in touch with some guys up here, had a stellar year. And then I just got, Brett Alexander reached out to me out of the blue. I knew who he was. He's like the biggest guide on Green Bay. And dude just slid in my DMs and was like, hey, I need a full-time guide next year. Do you want in? And I was just like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. But like, what do I do? Right. Like I just finished my apprenticeship like a month earlier. And like, this was my career. This was my job. This is what I was going to do. Like I was set. I just went through all this work and schooling and whatnot in the off season. I'd be laid off. But I kept talking to people and I'm like, dude, like, they're like, go for it. You're young. You got all this stuff. You can fall back on this apprenticeship you just started. And, I just went for it. The only, like, everybody told me to go for it. The only person that was against it was my dad, which was hilarious. Because I went into that same line of work and he was just like, this is for sure. You don't know what's going to happen with all this stuff, this, that, and blah, 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 blah. And everyone else just like, go for it. So it was cool. I'm glad I jumped for it. I went head first and obviously things have been great. The one thing I look back at and I really am happy that I got in when I did. I mean, I would have loved to get in a little bit earlier, but I mean, shit, I was 22 years old, right? But I kind of got ahead. I feel like, and maybe this is me just being an old crusty guide now, but like I feel like everybody's a guide now, or like everybody wants to guide, or it's like everybody's doing it now. It feels like more so. So
I feel like there's ebbs and flows to that. I would agree with, like, in the sense of I think there is a set amount of guides out there that you're like, okay, those are like the guides, like the badass guys that, put you obviously in that caliber and, several other people. But then, like, I think where it gets confusing up here is there's so many ice fishing guides that then infiltrates into the, like, who's a guide. You know what I mean?
Those poor people. God. Like I guided ice fishing for 1 year and it was the worst experience of my life.
Didn't you do whitefish on Sturgeon Bay?
Yes, it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Like,
can you imagine smelling like whitefish every day?
We cleaned hundreds of whitefish a day. Hundreds. We used to steal the squeegees from the gas station, like you clean your fucking windows with.
Yeah.
And we would like clean 10 of them and then take a squeegee and get the slime off the table so you could do 10 more. Like, it was horrible.
You definitely didn't start dating Jessie then.
I was already dating her.
Oh God!
Well, that's good.
That's
she
love,
is
dude.
nuts.
That's love.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's love.
Horrible. And like, I made no money working for Brett. Like, I didn't make anything. But it was a start. It got me in. I just put all my money back. I had a free place to stay in Shauna, which was huge. I mean, it was 45 minutes away, but like, yeah, I had just a whole bunch of amazing people around me that I would have got there, got here without any of them. And it's just crazy how it blew up super fast. And then, I mean, I did the YouTube stuff prior to guiding, and that definitely helped the brand and the business and whatnot. But now it's like, now I'm trying to take it the other way. Like, I'm so, like, I don't have, like, I'm a one-man show. I don't have anyone that works for me. I don't want to have anyone that works for me. I played that game, and it felt when I worked for Brett, having like me work for him and having like the way customers look at me because I'm not the guy or the person they technically hired or whoever it was, like they look down on that, or they feel like they're at a disadvantage because they're not with the guy as soon as fishing's tough, or they're not anglers, or just weather's bad, whatever it might be. Right. So like I took that really hard. So I'm just a one-man show. Throughout the years, I've raised my rates. Like I'm one of the most expensive guides in the Bay, but like I have my set client base, and like now I'm trying to grow stuff on the other side of things, like more social media stuff, and work with more brands and take a little bit of a step back from the guiding, because I mean, my customers are set. I'm so blessed and lucky to have the guys that I have. I mean, 80% of my season, I mean, I start guiding March 20th generally every year and go till it freezes, and I guide 12 people for 80% of my season.
Wow.
So which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's
it's
like,
amazing. They're my friends.
Awesome.
Like, they're all just guys that I've, got to have a connection with, and we're super tight. And I kind of brought them into this inner circle, and now we just fish tons. Like, a lot of those guys are I had one guy for 40 days 2 years ago.
Wow.
Damn. That's sweet.
So like, I just take
40 days straight, or like scattered.
It was scattered out. I think it was 5 trips.
I was going to say, if all of a sudden guys like, hey, I'm your roommate now.
That'd be a little bit. No, our longest trip was 10 days out of that 40. But dude's absolute hammer. Super good musky fisherman. But regardless, like, I'm so lucky because my guys will go with me wherever I want to go, do whatever I want to do, and they just trust me. And they're like, yeah, like, dude, I want you to come experience that. They're like, sure, tell me when and where. I'll be there. It's just like unreal.
That's so cool.
that other 20% of my clientele is my new guys. Like I want fresh blood coming in, right? And I don't want to say they're kind of like my testing pod and like see if I click, because like there's guys that are, you know, you click with naturally, and there's people that you just don't click with, right? Like, not say that they're a good person or bad person, but like I hit it off with some people, and like when I hit it off with somebody and think that like, you know, we can do a lot of cool shit together, I'm like, hey man, like come on into the inner circle over here, like let's go do some cool shit. So, but now it's like I said, it's hard, and I've done some other stuff too now that's just like trying to keep the brand going. And like it's funny too, like you guys are in kind of a different, it's funny, like all of us are in this fishing industry in a sense, one way or another, but like being a guide, and like you guys gave me this incredible intro that was like amazing, but like honestly in the fishing industry, being a guide, you get shit on compared to like, I introduced myself now as a content creator.
Really?
100%.
And that's just because you think that the term guide is diluted now?
Yeah, and it's just so content based and social media based, and like there's not, and it's I feel like guides are so incredibly important to so many brands, and it gives people a hands-on experience. There's so many experiences that I can give people in my boat, you know, one-on-one with them, that you can't get through a screen when everybody's telling you that this is the best plastic, and or this is the best plastic, or whoever you listen to. But we just don't get valued nearly as much as a lot of the social media guys or influencers. And it's crazy because, like I said, now even if you look at my social media, like it says content creators the first thing on my Instagram, and then it says fishing guide.
Yeah,
it's wild.
So this is a question I feel like I'd probably ask you toward the end of our interview, but I want to ask it now just because of kind of what you brought up. Like, say somebody is 18 years old right now, they're diehard. On the weekends, they're doing crazy shit. They put in time from when they were maybe 16 to 18 to really kind of become a good angler, and they want to dump head first into guiding. What would you suggest, and what would you tell them to do, and what route would you tell them to take in 2025?
So you still have to have like you can't just dive head first in. Like you have to have something supporting you on the backside. Like you have to have a job, or you have to be working under someone. Like I came in working underneath Brett. So like when I came into that situation, I ran 156 trips my first year guiding. I would say 40 of those were my own, 116 of those were Brett's, right? So like without Brett, I wasn't making any money. Like 40 trips, you need a minimum of 100 trips just to break even for the season as far as all your expenses. So like you have to have some, whether you're working a job part-time, whether you're doing something, you need some sort of solid income that's always going to be there. And then guiding is just what fills in your extra time. And is so important. And I mean, and then the thing that like helped me so much is just working for Brett gave me, not only did I learn a ton just fishing every single day, but it just gave me access to like so much content. Like, I mean, even like the simplest things, I mean, Instagram stories or like tons of fish pictures and like all this stuff. And then just trying to work with companies or brands or whatever, because like it all come, like it's so expensive. Like everything we use now is so incredibly expensive. If you want to compete with the people or guides that are out there, like you have to just absolutely work your freaking tail off. All of you guys sitting here know that, like to get where any of us are in the fishing industry takes so much now. But if you want to get into guiding, like you have to have some support system or some solid income behind you, and then just use your guiding as all of that extra other time that you can devote to it. And maybe that's a full-time job plus guiding.
Yeah.
I would think too, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Doug, but like I think the way I would look at it, I'm not a guide, but having seen a lot of people come into the industry or out of the industry, I feel like you doing it with Brett and is such a good way to do it for your first year. And that's something I would give advice to someone else is like, hey, get hired by someone who does it, because you just learn so many invaluable tools, even of like, what are good rates? How do you split stuff? What do you set aside for like literally the business stuff? Because like, and that's even, I would say even on the content creation side, right? Like what Sobe and I do, is just because you get into it. And if you don't know the base level, you tend to undervalue yourself way too much, but
Mhm.
then also you can't correctly value yourself because you have nothing there.
Right.
So like getting with someone just gives you it gives you a level playing field is basically the best way to put it. So I would think, wouldn't you recommend kind of for people to try to look into getting in somewhere,
For
even if
sure.
it's at a resort on Mille Lacs or
Resort
whatever, you know?
resorts are amazing because the beauty of resorts is that, so like my situation with Brett was kind of sticky because like when you come in and work for a dude, especially the way he did it, and he kind of set it up as he knew you were going to leave at some point. Like I came in as my own LLC. I was my own business, so I was a subcontractor for Brett.
Yeah.
All Brett did was give me trips, and I had to give him a cut of all of my trips, right? Like that was the deal. So like at that point, I still had all the equipment, all the boat was mine, all the equipment was mine, all the stuff was mine. And then when I got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't need Brett anymore to do this. I have enough of my own clients. Then I can just go out and do it on my own, which is what I did. But also that's like a touchy subject because like you just worked for this dude for 2 years. He just basically fed you essentially for 2 seasons or however long you worked for him.
Yeah.
And you don't want to stab that guy in the back. And now you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to guide on the same water that you guide on.
See, that's the weird thing.
So
I
touchy.
think that's weird because it's extremely touchy when it comes to fishing or anything in the outdoors. That's weird. But if you built cabinets for a dude for 2 years, hardcore, and then you started building cabinets, it wouldn't be that weird. I've got 101 buddies that are from the town I grew up at that right out of high school, they all did landscaping. They all did construction. Now they all do landscaping, construction underneath their own businesses. I'm sure to some extent, like that, it's a little touchy, but like any other business, it seems like it's not as touchy, but you do it in fishing and people get pissed. Like it's weird.
Sure.
But
Because
any other
there's
business,
so many egos in fishing.
but any other business you do that in, and it's like, I mean, you learned and
It's
then
business.
you did it.
That's what they say. It's business.
Well, and
but
there's so many
fishing,
clients,
it's not.
right? Like the demand is
Yeah.
still there, no matter how many guides there are. People are still going to book trips,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah, it's interesting, but the resort thing's awesome because the resorts, I mean, obviously you're still probably gonna the resort's gonna feel that, or you could be potentially taking people away from the resort, but the resort deal, like you're probably guiding out of one of their boats. You're just taking a ton of like, there's so much overflow. I feel like with resorts that like
Yeah.
it's not as big of a deal, and those clients or customers aren't generally looking for as high maybe quality of a guide, or aren't paying, I should say, for
Sure.
the quality of guide that you maybe have become over the last couple or few years of working there. But resorts would be my number one suggestion, and then potentially working under someone. And then if you want to try and do it on your own, good luck, but you need to have some kind of solid, steady income behind you.
I feel like it's because there's a lot of like, it's weird because like being a fishing guide is your job, but also like fishing in general is your lifeblood and your passion. And that is with so many people. And I feel like maybe that's why it's touchy, because like if Doug and Jesse start a series tomorrow where all they're going to do is travel around and chase the biggest crappie, Bart would be like, what? Why? But why?
Be like,
Why?
damn, there goes our views because Jesse's doing it.
Yeah,
Not me, my wife.
but you know what I mean? It's just because there's a lot of passion there, dude. There's a lot of passion there. And it'd be like, Doug would be like, crappie's extremely popular species from Texas to Florida to Minnesota. I think it's a lucrative deal. It's a great deal. I think it's a great business move. But you'd be pissed, Bart. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You'd be low-key pissed. But like, I think there's just a lot of passion in this game in general. It makes it a touchy subject. But I think you answered that question well. That's cool. And
would you say too, Doug, is that what led you from? So you started with Brett, then you were guiding on Green Bay for a while, and then you've started guiding obviously elsewhere. You do kind of mix it around all year. Is that why you started doing that too? Is being like, okay, we're going to go to different destinations, different places for new clients, or provide clients different opportunities, or kind of explain that for people who maybe don't know kind of what you all do. Cause I mean, we know that you smash like a lot of really big muskies on Green Bay, but then later in the summer you vanish.
Yeah, no, it's not so much like that was me getting away from Brett or who I was working for. It's just like I get bored. Like I need something new. I need something different to chase. I can't fish Green Bay every day. I would go nuts. I can't even so I did the Minnesota thing. I've always fished Canada as a kid. My dad always took me to Canada for 1 week a year and just absolutely fell in love with Northwestern Ontario and the musky fishing. Muskies are obviously my favorite, but I love giant walleyes, as Sobe said to start with. I've been very fortunate to catch some giant smallmouth in Sturgeon Bay and Door County, and I love lake trout fishing. Has become a big favorite of mine in the last 10 years. But I just need change. I need something different. I can't, like, I get so bored. Even Lake of the Woods, right? Like one of the biggest lakes in the world, over 10,000 islands, over 1 million acres. Like I honestly get bored of Lake of the Woods after like a month in the summer. I'm like, I'm ready to go somewhere else, do something else. I need a different challenge. I need a different scenery. I want something different. So like, I just like bouncing around that way. Like people, I've been called a bite chaser. I've been called everything, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Like I leave Green Bay when the muskies go out and suspend in the middle of the lake, and that's not how I want to fish for them. And I go to Canada to go catch them on a bucktail in 6 feet of water in a figure eight. Like that's just how I want to catch them. And I travel around to do things that I truly enjoy, so that it doesn't make me feel like guiding is a job, because that was what a lot of people told me that when I started. Like, you don't make your passion your job. Don't make your passion your job. You're gonna learn to hate it. And the only way that I've just, like, I still love my job. I absolutely love it. Jesse doesn't get it. Like I book myself as full as my calendar will physically let me do it. If there was more days in a year, I'd put more customers in there, my guys. But I need to change it up. I need to keep moving. I love exploring. That's my favorite thing in the world to do, explore new bodies of water. And that's why I really fall in love, obviously, with Northwestern Ontario. But it's hard because I'm up in Lake of the Woods, and I'm there for a month, right? And we're catching 3 to, I don't know, 12 muskies a day. Wow. And then I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm like, man, but I'd really like to see like a 55-incher. Like I'm ready to go home and try and catch a giant. So I just need to move around.
I feel like that's just like, whether you're a full-time guide like yourself or a recreational angler, like that's fishing in general. You know what I mean? Even if you're fishing bluegills through the ice, like, and you go out Saturday and Sunday, and you could smash them one day Saturday, but then you and your buddies come up with a stupid idea to be like, well, let's go here. Well, we just caught them there on Saturday. We could go back. Well, yeah, but we could, you know what I mean?
Oh,
it's just, I feel like that's cool. And you get to do that and obviously make a living at it. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah. And my guys trust me. And I can straight up tell them, hey man, like, do you want to go fish like all new spots today? And they're like, sure, why not?
This could suck, or it could be really cool.
Totally. They're like, I mean, I've had guys literally tell me, I want you to take me to like 10 spots you've always wanted to fish, but you've never done it. I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think you have like kind of a cool client base though too. Like these guys are hardcore anglers, and like you said, you trust them and you want to fish with them and stuff. But I feel like that's maybe not the case for a lot of people that are like quote unquote guiding, right? Like they're 100%. Taking people that suck at fishing, or like maybe go on one trip a year. But you've kind of positioned yourself as like a really like premium guide, and like you're taking premium clients. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that kind of goes hand in hand though, which I think is pretty cool, that you're able to basically take people and like experience what you want to experience and like share with them, which I think is super badass.
And I started with the guys that couldn't fish, and I went through all of that. Like, I didn't just start out and say, hey guys, I'm the most expensive guide in the world, and I'm only going to take 12 of you and go have like the best life. Like, I dealt with some fucking goons. Like, when Brett Alexander pays whatever, I mean, back SEO or whatever it was back in 2018, when he was the first thing that popped up on Google, when somebody came in to watch a freaking Packers game, and they're going to go fishing for one day, and they get all fucked up the night before, and they're puking off the side of your boat, and they're an hour late, and they're spinning reels upside down, right? Like, I dealt with all of that shit, all of it. And it was just like finding the right people. And I think, and some of the people found me too, right? Like through social media and through like the YouTube videos and that stuff. Like, I remember, I'll never forget it. I was guiding in 2020 or 2021 on Green Bay. It was 2021. And my schedule was freaking slammed. I mean, doubles, 8-hour trip, 16-hour days, just going through August, our best musky month on Green Bay, and just freaking slammed. And I had a dude that called me, and he canceled for some odd reason. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to work 8 hours and go home and sleep for 16. Like, I was stoked, right? And whatever, my phone had rang a time or two throughout the day, and number I didn't recognize, just put it down. And I get home that night, and the guy left me voicemail, and I listened to the voicemail. And this dude's like, super high energy. He's like, hey man, my name's Scott. I live down in Appleton, love watching your stuff. Think you're, super good dude. Would love to get out in the water with you, this, that, and the other. And I heard it in the dude's voice that like, I was just like, I get this guy. Like me and this guy are going to freaking hit it off. Right. So I call him back. It's like 9:30 at night. I call him back. He answers and I'm like, hey man, like what's going on? Missed your call, blah, blah, blah. And we hit it off. And like, we just talk for like 45 minutes on the phone. And he's like, yeah. So like, do you have any dates open? And I'm like, yeah, I got one freaking day. Just had a dude cancel. Like, you're in. Let's freaking go. Like, I knew I had to fish with this guy. And this was literally his only opportunity and my only opportunity to make it work for that season. It was like 3 days later, 4 days later from when he had called me or when we talked. So he jumps in the boat. We just freaking hit it off. He had been fishing Canada for a bunch of years on Eagle Lake. And I had fished Eagle a little bit or whatever. We hit it off. Like, we're just super, like, love the dude. Didn't catch a damn thing. Got stormed off. There was lightning and rain and shit everywhere. We only got like 5 hours of fishing in. I'm like, hey man, you want to come back to the house, crack a couple beers and just shoot the shit? He's like, yeah. This dude's like 45 years old, lives an hour south of me, comes over to the house. We have some beers. We end up scheduling like 15 days to fish the next season. And now he's like one of my best customers. And I absolutely love him. He brought his son now the last couple of years. His son's name's Jack. He's a couple of years younger than I am. Kid's a hammer. But just like those connections, like I just remember hearing the dude's voice and how it, like hearing it in his voicemail, I was just like, I need to fish with this guy. Like, and I don't care if it's the only chance I'm going to get more than 4 hours of sleep. I need to fish with this dude and see what he's all about. And now he's one of my favorite customers.
That's freaking cool.
That's a good story.
That's
I think that also too gives people an idea of like, people look at this industry or what you're doing, Doug, guiding and stuff, and they're like, oh, it looks fine and dandy and everything. And I remember when I stayed with you and you were telling me what your summer was going to be like, and you're talking about doubles. I don't know anybody else who runs doubles. Like I personally, like Doug is one of the only people I know that does doubles and like all summer and like to crazy numbers where you're like, you do so many guide trips that I legitimately asked you, are you able to charge your batteries throughout a night? Well, and you're like, sometimes, more than likely not.
Yeah, that's where like good battery, like thank God for lithiums, right? And like going just even like through the rigging of my boat, like I just did a walkthrough video on my new boat for this year. And like I have the most ridiculous battery setup. Like I'm sure there's dudes that are like, who does this guy think he is? Like that no one needs that amount of battery power. And like I literally set my stuff up so I can fish for 3 days straight and not need a charge. Because like that could be a thing. Like even you get a generator in Canada when you're staying at one of these resorts that go down in the middle of the night and nobody knows about it. Or like when you're on mainland power in Canada, but you're on an island and you're the last person that gets power off of that power run. If a tree falls on the shit and it's 50 miles from anybody in the middle of the freaking woods, good luck. Like you're not getting charged, and I got to go work for the next 16 hours, right? And if I don't have a boat I don't have a trolling motor, I'm out. I'm out a freaking day of work. So like it's ridiculous. Like I have two 12-volt 320 amp hour batteries that run my electronics. So I have 640 amp hours of battery to run all my graphs.
That's insane.
Yeah, ridiculous. And then you got your one, like I've got 135s for all my trolling motor batteries and then a 135 for a starting battery. So I have 6 batteries in my boat. But then the flip side of that, like I make sure I buy the fastest charger I can get, the Minn Kota 345 PCLs, right? So like I'm getting 15 amps. There's a perfectly good 550 PCL, right? 10 amp charger that comes in the boat. Brand new that I just paid however many $100,000 for my boat. It comes with this perfectly good charger. I'm like, nope, you're going in the garbage. I need one that charges faster, because a lot of nights it's 3-4 hours, 4.5 hours charge time, and then you're back out on the water.
Damn,
that's nuts.
Yeah,
but obviously you're working your ass off and you've worked really hard to gain the reputation of the clients you have, but at the end of the day, like when you got clients, like whether it be a new one or an old one that calls you and they got that excitement, then you click with them and then they end up booking 15 days, like, and shit comes together, like that's got to be a really freaking cool feeling. Where on the flip side, say you had a different job, like nobody calls the dentist office and is like, dude, I'm freaking, I cannot wait to see you tomorrow. What are we talking, like 8 o'clock? That's my appointment. 8. when I get in there, I'm gonna be pumped to see you. And when shit goes good and you fix my teeth, like I'm gonna be so glad I came there. And I'm really excited just to be with you in the office. You know, I mean, they don't get. I always feel like I don't care whether you're doing construction or landscaping or I don't know. I give those people credit that do jobs on the flip side that it's like it's not. I feel like it just won't be as rewarding. Where like when you're guiding, like obviously you're working your ass off, but there's a lot of rewarding times in there that you got to just be like, hell yeah, dude. Like I love my job.
And any day that like, so like the only thing that wrecks my days now are like customers and weather. Like that's the only thing that wrecks my day.
Yeah.
That's it. And honestly, like even those days, I just have to catch myself. I'm like, dude, you could be freaking putting pipe in the ground right now. Like shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Just you're fine. Like it's just a little bit of rain. You're good.
Yeah.
Right? You got 5 more hours with this dude, right? Like he's telling you how muskies ate all the walleyes in his lake, and you might want to strangle them. But like, you only got 5 hours left, buddy. Like,
oh my god,
just keep your mouth shut. Just keep your mouth shut.
Okay, so you've been into guiding 7 years, but maybe when you're in it 20 years, will you write a book and you title it "I've Heard It All," and just if you could start now,
literally title it "The Muskies Ate All the Walleyes in My Lake."
The Muskies ate all the walleyes. I've heard it all. Like if you could, I know you're crunch on time when you work in the busy season, but like if you could just write down some of this shit.
I should have wrote down my first 2 years. Like that's when the gold came through.
Oh,
that was the good stuff.
It could be a bestseller, dude.
Now my guys are just so good. Like I know exactly what I'm getting when my guys get in my boat. I know it's so nice. It's so like relaxing, and like I don't stress about people booking or any of this stuff. And like I'm trying to slow down for my wife mainly, and step back and do some more social stuff, and like our membership page. I'm really focusing on that lately, and doing some other stuff, and like trying to slow down a little bit. But I want to be out there every day. Whenever I'm not out there, I'm just like, fuck me, they're biting right now, and like I'm not there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pink.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you find? I mean, obviously you guide a ton, and like from at least the other people that I know that guide at a fairly high level, like they love to fish, but like deep down, they love to teach people too. And like, I know you do a ton of like educational content. Like you have an entire like subscription based thing solely about that stuff. Like, is that something that really lights your fire too? Is like teaching people about this stuff more than being out there and like setting the hook and like experiencing that with people, but like helping other people experience that in like their own way too?
100%. Like, it was really interesting because I made a shift. I was in 2021 when I started the membership, and it was for a couple different reasons. Like one, and I'm sure Sobi and Bart, all you guys can relate to this. Like the YouTube grind was what for me. Like I had capped out kind of my industry, right? So if you ask like Kurt or the guys at Thorn or any of those guys, like if you talk to them, like, okay, how many musky anglers are there? Like devoted, like serious musky anglers are there? And they'll tell you between like 35 and 40,000, right? And then you got guys down south, whatever. But like our Midwest region, you've got a solid 25 to 30,000 anglers, and then you've got some sporadic guys here and there, like guys that stay in the industry, buy a bait or two every year, like put money into the industry, whatnot, right? Yeah. So like I'd grown my YouTube channel, and it was somewhat multi-species, but it's 90% muskies, like I'll be honest. And I'm at 25,000 subscribers, and I'm like, well, now what do I do? Like I'm making $40 a video.
Yeah.
I can't drive to the launch for that. What do I do? Right. So like, and I was making all this content and taking all the time, and you guys know what editing takes and all this, like all the stuff, it just costs so much money to do it all. And then to get the return is like, here's $40. Like, thanks for your, 12 hours of fishing and your 17 hours of editing, and here you go. And it's just like, I got to the point where my guiding business was full. I didn't really have room for new customers. And my YouTube had helped me grow that, obviously. But then I was to the point where it's like, why am I doing this and devoting this much time to it if I'm not getting any return on it anymore? Like I've maxed out myself, and I didn't, like I told you guys, don't want to hire anybody under me, because even then, if they watch all my YouTube videos and they call me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to set you up with so-and-so, like that's not the experience that they're looking for, right? So I couldn't fulfill that for people. So for me, it's like, well, I'm not making any money doing this YouTube thing. It's really not worth my time. I'd rather spend my time with my wife because I'm guiding freaking nonstop dark to dark for 8.5, 9 months out of the year. So what am I going to do? Like I grew this great following, but what do I do with it? And I still love the educational part of it because you see people at shows or, oh, I love your videos, man. Love your stuff, this, that, and the other. And, in my videos, I always had some like one of the main parts, I mean, obviously just catching fish, but like I really tried to put some informational stuff in there for people to relate to. It's what I was good at. Everybody's got their niche and like what they're good at with their videos, right? So I was really good, I felt like, at teaching things or explaining the things to people and just helping them become better anglers. So we just took that and took it to a membership and a subscription platform and changed it and went from, posting probably 35 to 40 musky videos a year to posting one video every single week, but there was a $8 a month subscription fee that came with it. And that way it allowed me to still teach a ton of people and do it for a very small fee. I mean, a fraction. I mean, an 8-hour musky trip is $800 plus tax to fish with me, right? So for $8 versus $800 plus tax, you can gather, get all this information. You're going to get 4 videos a week. They're anywhere from, 6 to up to 30 minutes, some of them, right? And like the amount of freaking criticism and flack that I got for that, like I got destroyed.
I remember
Yeah.
when
Oh
you
my
came out,
God.
which is so
Pink and I
crazy.
were
Like,
texting each other, and I was like, I know this is going to be bad immediately, but I'm very curious to see where this goes in a few years.
Well, you had
because
put out the video
first
of
one.
you announcing it.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I watched it and my like initial take was like, oh, this seems cool. And then I remember scrolling through the comments and just being like, Jesus, this is fucking mental. What is going down in the comments on this video? Like, dude,
it was wild. But it's so crazy because like what I can, and I've tried to explain this to people, and still, I still have people that just hate my guts for charging $8 a month, right? And I've tried to explain this to people. Like now we have so many videos in the membership. We're coming up on 200 uploads. There is more information in that little piece or that little community that we have than I could teach you in a week of guiding at $1,600 a day. Right? And it's $8 a month. Like it's incredible to me that people just don't see the bigger picture. And it wasn't, I mean, for me, I'm just trying to make it worth my time. That was about as cheap as I could make it. It's $100 a year for someone to be subscribed. It's worth my time to do it. We've got an awesome community of anglers that are in there. We've grown it really well. We've got a really good core group of dudes, but like the amount of flack that I still get for it is just, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. But I can't if people still want educational stuff from me, it's the only way I can do it. I mean, you guys know how the sponsor deal is, like how cutthroat it is to get money from anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
And even then, like you're not getting, like if you break it down to an hourly rate, like I literally had to, so like the video that Pink's talking about that I uploaded, looking back, I wish I would have delivered it a little bit differently because I was very standoffish because I knew I was going to get hammered on it. And I wish I would have delivered it a little bit differently. But then I think it was like 4 months later, I did a follow-up video on it and just literally showed everybody the analytics. Went onto my account on YouTube and literally just showed people, here's this video that I made. This is an average viewed video. It's like 12,000 views. Here's all the numbers. Here's my revenue from this video, and show it to them. Like, okay, so in this video, I made $41. Okay. It took me 10 hours out on the water to film this. It took me 2 hours to download the footage at night. It took me another 10 hours to edit the video. So I'm this much into it. All that stuff. And like, I break it down and I'm like, okay, I'm making 4 cents an hour to do this for you. Why am I doing this? Like, there's just ridiculous stuff. Right. So whatever. And then a lot of people were like, whoa, like people think you have a YouTube channel and you have like a YouTube following or subscribers. Like, oh man, like you're killing it. You're making 150 grand a year. Like I know a YouTuber that's unboxing toys and they make millions. Like that ain't us. That's not us.
Not this community, brother. No.
And especially the musky community, right? Like it's even smaller than what any of you guys are dealing
They're
with.
just pissed they got to pay you $8 a month because they spent $800 on musky baits last week.
But that's like almost the point. Like that's the oxymoron of all this. Like and why I think it's crazy you got any backlash at all is like an average musky consumer will walk into a show and they will see a bait for $75 and they might grab 1 or 2 or 3 of them or one. And it's like, oh, and they don't know if it's proven. They don't know if it works. They don't know shit. And this is an average
Well,
musky.
they also
maybe
have 500 sitting in their garage they don't even throw.
Right. And if somebody builds a musky bait, builds a musky bait and they go, oh, I put time and effort into making this work right and blah, blah, blah. They put a lot of hard work and time and effort in that bait. And and they look you dead in the eye at a show and they go, $75. You don't bat an eye. But then Doug puts time, effort, and a lifetime's worth of musky effort in to acquire this knowledge. And then he just openly shares it. And he's like, yo, I don't want $8 every video. I want $8 a month. And then they shit on you. I think that's the dumbest thing in the whole entire world. Like, here's an example. I was just at the Bassmaster Classic. I'm also a noob at throwing glide baits. I just bought this $100 glide bait. I just bought this $75 glide bait. I don't know if they're the freaking deal. I'm also a noob glide bait fisherman because I'm from Minnesota. But I kind of know this builder and this brand and this stuff, and I think it's cool, and I think they're kind of good. I don't bat an eye. Why would you bat an eye at somebody who's charging $8 a month and they're literally out there proving it, showing it, and then they explain it to you, and you're going to be way better? I'd pay $8 a month if somebody just walked me through different glide baits, different. Yeah, it's
and Doug, maybe give us
way more serious.
Give us our audience is all over the map, right? As far as what they like to do. A lot of them have probably never musky fished in their life, but give us a breakdown, just quick overview. Like, what is your like your subscription thing based around? Like, what is the goal, the mission of that whole thing? Like, what is it?
I want to hear this too, because I know we've all debated this, and I see more YouTube channels having membership models, but like a lot of them, I'm like, I don't believe you provide a value enough for me to pay for it. Like with say with 80 to 90% of them, whereas with yours, I'm like, value. There's value there,
and
like,
it's a really niche species he's going for, and it's really it's a lot of time on the water that he's acquired.
Well, the crazy, like the interesting thing about muskies is that people are so secretive about them, and people don't want to talk about them, and like because they're so hard to catch, right? And it's cool because it is a niche market and it's so small, and they're the hardest fish to catch in freshwater. I don't think anybody would argue with that. But and there's just like guys don't want to get. There's not that much information out there, right? And you don't want to give that information away. And it doesn't matter what you do. Like I got blasted for all the videos I made prior to I went to a membership because I was giving everything away and I was doing all this and I'm exposing all these bites and this, that, and the other. And you didn't learn any of this, like whatever. I mean, just the haters, right? Like there's just a million of them. But the whole base of the membership was just built off of the fact that I had made this amazing platform. I'd got this awesome community of 25,000 people. And it was like, how can I take this and do something else with it, but still teach people? Because now my guiding business is full. And when I worked for Brett, like we talked about earlier, like learning the business side of things, I learned just as much how to run a business from Brett as much as how I didn't want to run a business the way Brett did it, right? Because everybody runs things differently. I'm not saying Brett does a bad job running, good or bad job running his business, right? But I wanted to run my business differently because it's how I wanted to do it. So like, I didn't want to have a bunch of guides that work underneath me. And I still don't want to have a bunch of guides that work underneath me. I like running my own schedule. I like having my guys. And I want to make sure that my customers feel like they're in the best possible position because they're with me and they're not with, a guy that works for me. Not to say that the guy that works for me isn't a good fisherman, because he's probably amazing, but there's so many variables that come with it. So the membership was just a way to continue to educate people, right? But then also just for less than a freaking Big Mac to a month, just to educate all these anglers and help them be successful on the water. And we've gotten flack from even members on like the kind of content we were doing and shooting. And we've changed what we were doing. Originally, we were basically doing fishing videos. I think it's similar to what you guys do, Bart, with like Expose the Ice.
Yeah, like I've debated putting that into a membership thing a lot.
So like, here's what I got.
We give up a lot of shit with that.
Totally, right? But like, and here's what kind of where I got the flack was because I mainly fish Green Bay and Lake of the Woods. Those are the two main places that I fish, right? I fish Minnesota, I fish here, I fish some other places in Canada. I used to fish southern Wisconsin. I've done some metro stuff for muskies, right? Like I've fished all these other places, but like what I'm known for is Green Bay and Lake of the Woods. Those are the two lakes that like I'm known for fishing. So the content I was uploading was basically fishing videos, and we would go through a clip, right? We go through a catch, just like however you would show it on the standard YouTube video or like a vlog, whatever. You go through a catch, and then at the end of that catch, I'd stop the video and be like, okay, so here's what we were doing. We were fishing this kind of spot. The boat was positioned here. He was throwing this lure. I was throwing this lure. You see when he comes in on his figure eight, he goes a little bit too slow in the corner, and then he hangs a little bit too long in the straightaway, but then he picks it up, gets it in the corner. Like, these are the things you want to do, and this, that, and the other, right? So like just talking through the whole strike, and then maybe we like draw a map. Like I always had a whiteboard, and I felt like I was a freaking head coach of football team right up there just chalking it up. And like Mark drawing out the spot or whatever. Like the wind was coming in here, the current's this way, the shelf came out like this, and like all the different elements that came with it. But then I got flack of like, well, I don't fish Lake of the Woods. This doesn't pertain to me. And then I got the, well, I don't, we do a Green Bay video. Well, I don't fish Green Bay. My fish don't do that here. Like my fish are hard to catch. I fish in the metro. My muskies don't do this. My muskies don't do that. So like we went through a year and a half of that. Like that's when we started, right? So then it had to totally pivot, because what I was doing at that point is I was filming all my stuff that I used to for YouTube, and then I was using that for a membership platform. So then I kind of had to pivot, and I'm like, okay, well, how can I try and make everybody happy? Which is going to be impossible, but we're going to try here, right? Yeah. So what we ended up doing is now basically all of my videos, or 90% of them, are basically sit down videos, either talking about certain times a year or tactics. Bait modifications are for sure my favorite one. Like little tweaks and tinkering with lures is what I really love. Just anything that's very broad, but also super precise and to the point, and specific to each technique or strategy or whatever the topic is that we're talking about, so that no matter where you fish in the country, you can relate to it, because it's not just a fishing video from Lake of the Woods, or not just a fishing video from Green Bay. It's specific to anywhere. You can listen to Lee Livesey talk about how he throws a chatterbait, right? Or Brett Height talk about how he throws a chatterbait, and anyone can learn something from him. He's talking about that, right? It's not just, Lee Livesey, John Cox is the only guy that can go catch him on the bank. Like that's not, that doesn't pertain to me. My fish don't go to the bank. Yes, your fish go to the fucking bank, and John Cox is a hammer, so just piss off. But that's how kind of we had to change the membership now. So now I still film all my stuff, but I just use it for different things. I do a lot of social media stuff with it. So like I have an entertainment side of things that we do a lot of Instagram reels with, Facebook reels, stuff like that. And I work with some brands on that stuff. And then we have the membership thing, which is just totally sit down. I filmed a bunch of videos today.
Which I think it's cool. You're just appeasing to two different audiences. Like, honestly, Adam doesn't care about the intricacies of throwing big rubber, but he loves to see you slap a big muskie on Instagram. But then you have other folks that are like, no, dude, break this down. Like break down when you're throwing freaking a big tube and like, it's cool. Yeah. That's really cool.
I think it's super
that you're appeasing to.
I think it's super smart, because it's like, speaking of like what you said, Doug, what we do with Expose the Ice, I think you probably ran into kind of what we did, where like with the Chronicles, it was like, all right, we're going to make this educational and like very cinematic. So like you're doing that, and then you have all these people asking for all this information. So you're like, okay, I'm going to make it educational. Now I'm on the editing side going through doing it, and I'm like, okay, there's a fine line I have to ride here for it to be educational and cinematic and entertaining before it gets really boring. So it's like, okay, shit, I can't do that.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What viewer?
Trying to hit your best viewer. So then we started getting all these questions, and I think we had kind of come up with the whole Expose the Ice thing because of, your membership channel, but we were like, I don't think we can necessarily, I didn't know if it would work right away for us to do it that way. And I still don't know if we'd ever do it there, just because the ice fishing community in general is so much bigger than the muskie community. So it's a completely different scenario. But it was along those lines of being like, okay, I'll make a video. If you want me to talk for 20 minutes about breaking down a basin for crappies, we're going to do it. And we're going to tell you exactly how to do it. And like your stuff of, different musky lures. And what's crazy to me is, I think we've all probably seen this at different content creation sides, is you come up with an idea and you go, okay, this will last for a bit, but I'm going to have to adapt. And then you get into it and start doing it, and it just sprouts and sprouts and sprouts and sprouts. Like, I'm sure when you first started the membership channel, there's no way you thought you'd get up to 200 videos. Like you probably thought like, oh, I probably got like 50 to 100 things I can talk about.
That's
and
the
now
hard
here
part.
you are,
Yeah.
you know?
That's the hard part, is like finding new content to talk about and like new things to talk about, because you feel like you've covered like it's so interesting to me. Like the things that I think are the most basic things are what I get the most questions about.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
And if you guys have seen the same thing, like, so now I really have to, I don't want to say dumb it down, but break it down. So like break it down so much more, and then break it into other parts, because like I said, I'm super specific and technical with things. And I bring it down to that final little, most focused point. But the things that I get the most questions on are just like, oh yeah, this is just what you do. Like there's just like, you don't even think, it's not even a thought that goes through my mind, because for me, it's just a habit of how I do things, or, how I go about things.
Yeah, it's as minuscule of like when we do our seminars, Pink, or even when we film those videos, I think of, we have to do a 1-minute segment of what is a point or an inside turn, so that when we say it, I don't get the question. Like that's just like automatically inserted in, because I know I'm going to say point and inside turn, and someone's going to be like, so show me on a map what that is. And I'm like, we just have to put it in every video now.
Well, like Doug's saying, I mean, like the people that are watching these videos, they might fish for 2 days a year. 1 week, you know, they go up to northern Wisconsin to the cabin, and they give it a shot, and they want to consume as much like content as they can before that. They give it a shot. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but they live for that weekend. Like they're content consuming 300 days a year for the 4 or 5 days they get to fish, and they're just like, they live for it, and they just want.
And I don't think it's disrespectful at all to say like dumb it down. Like I really don't, because I think someday I could become a paid subscriber to your freaking membership channel. And you want to know why? Because I'm a bass guy, but I also want to go out for a couple weeks, whether it be around the metro, or maybe I do a trip to Lake of the Woods and go for muskies. I'm not a diehard muskie guy, but I'd like to freaking go on more muskie trips. What the hell?
But that's the thing, is we need people with that kind of mentality, because you get the entry level guys that are like, I want to learn and consume as much as I possibly can. Right. So you got that group of anglers, and then you've got the guys that are like, I've been fishing muskies for 25 years. They're like, I know it all. And like, it's like, I don't know close to everything. Right. Like you get those guys that are too proud to pay for it. And like, there's probably some stuff in there. Like, I mean, I could learn some great stuff from all of you guys, right? Like, I mean, everybody has something to offer, and you can learn something from everyone. Yeah. And like, to think that you're too good for something is just like, like that saying, when you think you know it all, you know nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so wild. Like, I mean, it's just, it's crazy, but the membership's been fun. It's definitely a little stressful. Like when you make the commitment to one upload every week, like every Wednesday, like that's a lot, especially once I start guiding. And like, I try and do all of my videos in the winter and get them all done, and then just put them out, once a week throughout the season, because there's no way like I get done fishing 16, 17 hours. I'm going home to edit a video or, shoot a video for some people or whatever. And like, I can't take the time out of my customer's day where it's like, hey man, hold my phone here for 15 minutes while you're paying me whatever X amount of dollars. And, just shoot this for me real quick. Like, it's tough. And like, I do film with a lot of my customers now. And I always ask those guys if it's cool, and a lot of them are cool with it now, but it's such a fine line, because you try and do so many things, because you can't just do one thing in this industry to make it. You can't, unless you're freaking on I mean, even the guys in the Elite Series, look at Jacob Fouts. Like, the dude was holding on by a string.
A lot of them are, dude. Are you
it's
kidding me?
insane.
Like
it's insane. Like even Sobe's story. Like I mean, I've known Sam for a long time, but like, I truly don't know Sobe's story. But like, it's like, I can't imagine the amount of work that goes into it all. And like, you made it, and like, you're still freaking grinding. Like, you're not sitting there living.
I still do a lot of uploads that just make $40. Don't get it twisted. Like, like you got.
Like, oh shit, I lost on that one, right? Like, that's just
like all the time.
Life. I mean, I remember you talking to Jesse. I think we were at the ice show one night, and we all went out, and you were asking Jesse. I mean, Jesse, when she was here, she was literally hustling so fucking hard. Yeah. She was going online, finding like Christmas decorations. There was like, I'll never forget it. There was these fucking little pine trees. They're like 4 feet tall, fake pine trees
Yeah.
at Walmart on like clearance for like $25. Jesse would buy out like the 4 local Walmarts, buy them completely out of them, put them on Marketplace for $50, and have people driving past Walmart to come to my house or the rental that we lived in to buy the freaking Christmas trees for $50 for her to resell. Like just and like all
I
the
remember
little
her
things you have
telling
to
me
do.
about
It's
that.
insane.
She's hustling, dude. She's just hustling.
Hustling.
And I remember she talked to Sam one night. I mean, she was in the market for a while. Like she was scalping some market stuff. Like I don't know, you guys have talked about a bunch of stuff that night, I think, but like we all have to find like could I make it off of my living just as a fishing guide now? Yes, I could. But there's things I want to do. I want to go take trips in the middle of the season. I want to go fishing with my wife on trips, and like that all costs freaking money, and we all have to do things to make that money somewhere to go and do those things. Like none of us are living high in the hog like we are. I think we're all super grateful for where we are, but like it's not all butterflies up here.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, I mean, you're an angler. I mean, like, yes, you're a guide and you take people to do all this cool shit, but you just love fishing. And like, I love, even when you kind of wrap your season up or whatever, like you guys kind of could just chill, but you guys freaking pack it up and go do a saltwater trips and stuff like that, which I think is super badass. And I mean, I'm sure that's something you guys enjoy too. It's totally different. I mean, you're kind of experiencing something totally new, but like, I feel like no matter what happens, wherever your business goes, whatever, it's like you're going to be freaking fishing and
100%.
trying to just experience cool stuff. But like, I guess outside of like your guiding stuff and like muskies, walleye, smallmouth, like what lights your fire to just like stuff that you think about for the whole year when you're like, man, when this guide season's over, I want to freaking do this. Like, what is that for you?
It's funny because like I'm always I try to live in the moment, but it's so hard because I'm always looking forward to what's coming next. Like we've got this awesome pre-spawn walleye bite that's about to happen here in Green Bay, and I'm like freaking stoked for it. But at the same time, like I'm really looking forward to like the post-spawn bite. And there's some certain places and areas that I fish that I'm super juiced about. And then I think ahead to like muskie season. I'm like, oh, I'm super stoked for muskie season, but I can't wait till November so I can go and throw a freaking pounder and catch a muskie. Like I hate to wish away time, but like I'm always thinking about what's coming next, not what I'm doing right now. And I'm sure that hurts me a lot of ways too. Like, but I need something to look forward to. And like, I have my schedule, like my schedule's booked out till the end of the season already. Like I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing next year. Like I know my trips that I'm going on next year. I know my dates. I know everything. I just like knowing what the plan is. For certain things. But I don't know. Like there's plenty of things in the off season that I like to do. I used to hunt a ton. I don't get to hunt at all anymore. I haven't hunted since I went and bow hunted with a customer of mine in Illinois in 2019. But before that, like I haven't hunted since 2015 probably. And I miss it. I'd like to do it, but the problem is like I'm so in love right now with fall muskies. Like I have the most amazing opportunity in the world. Okay. I had the chance and the opportunity to guide Lee and Tiffany Lauskis last summer on Lake of the Woods.
That's
and
sick.
Took a muskie fishing for 2 days. Tiffany caught her first muskie. Lee caught some fish. I caught some fish. We had a blast. We hit it off. Jesse and I just went shed hunting down at their place in Iowa a month ago. And like unreal opportunity. And Lee's like, hey man, like if you want, you can come down to Illinois and shoot a management buck or maybe shoot a doe or something like this or that.
A management buck.
Yeah, a management buck.
Right? When Lee says a management buck, I'm like,
well, like here's the sad thing. This is the saddest part. Is I'm just like, that's cool. Like that'd be amazing. Is it like still open in December or January? Because I'm muskie fishing until the end of November.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Dang.
And I feel so guilty saying that. But Jesse's really fallen in love with hunting. She loves bow hunting. She loves shooting her bow. She's never shot a deer with her bow. She's had 100 opportunities. She just didn't want to do it, I guess. But her and Tiff hit it off, and Lee got her set up with a sweet bow, and we went down there. And you guys are really the first people that I've like kind of told, but I just kind of kept it hush hush. They live a super public lifestyle, and like I said, I took them last July, and we got a bunch of days booked, or a couple days booked for this summer again to go do it again. Lee's absolutely loves musky fish. So I actually musky fished with him back in 2020. My buddy Nolan actually introduced us, and then he came up this last summer. We hit it off again, but Lee's a freaking stud with a bucktail. Like, that dude can fish. Thanks to Hoyer. Hoyer taught him how to fish a bucktail, but just like what an amazing opportunity, right? But like, and like the shed hunting was insane. We got to go on their Iowa farm, and their house is ridiculous, and like they're just the nicest, most down to earth humans I've ever met. Like it was incredible to me. Like I left our fishing trip this summer, and I was just like, I couldn't get out of my head for like a month. I was just like, how can someone, or these two people that are the highest, like of the high on the hog when it comes to the hunting industry, and like just like the most like sought after humans, or like just at the top of their game, and they're famous, like they're literally famous people.
Oh yeah,
right?
oh
like
yeah.
the most famous hunters probably out there.
Yeah,
and they act like they've known you since you were a kid, and they're just like the most down to earth, nicest humans, just good, genuine people. And it just like blew my mind. It was like, how can someone of that, I don't know. I don't even know the name for like who or what they are, like, because they're not anything than just normal people, but like stature, or I don't know. Like, it's insane to me that they're just the most amazing humans. Blows me away.
That's super cool.
That's really cool.
No, that's a cool, like, it's cool that you've been able to connect with them too, like further, and like that's going to be cool. Like, hopefully, some cool stuff comes out of that, or maybe you get to capitalize on some of these opportunities with them too. Would be super sick. But it's sweet that they're musky fishing with you, and like, because I'm sure that's totally like outside of their probably
100%.
comfort zone or box of knowledge. So it's cool that people that are at that level, like, you're still showing them new stuff, and that's pretty badass.
I also think it'd be electric if they filmed Jessie killing her first deer at the bow. Like, oh man,
My God,
excitement, swear words, so many good swear words.
Lots of those.
I'm excited for the spiritual post she will have with some rocks and stones and quotes about killing her first deer. It'll be great. It'll be all over the place. It's going to be a whirlwind of a week.
Probably
have a story crying.
Yeah, my wife loves to cry in her stories. It's like her favorite thing to do. Just like, why do you do this? She's just like, it's just who I am. I'm just open, like, with everyone. And she loves social media. Like, I like social media, don't get me wrong, it's good, but like, I haven't posted something that's not on my business page maybe since I got married. Like, it's been a while. Like, it's just, you get social media burnout, I think, though, too, right? Like, I mean, I post 3 to 4 times a week on social media, and it's just like, I don't need to post anything else. Like, I'm good. Like, I mean, it would have been an amazing, like, I contemplated, like, I've got some awesome pictures from that trip with Lee and Tiff, and I was like, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't really want to post any pictures. I just, I don't know what, how they felt about the whole situation. And like, normally I film all of my stuff on Lake of the Woods. Like, there's 6 cameras I have going all day long on Lake of the Woods. And like, they were coming, and I like threw everything in my case and like put it in the rod locker. I'm like, this is just going away. Like, not gonna be like, hey guys, come on the boat, and here I'm gonna put up 6 GoPros in front of your face because you got away from your busy life. I mean, now they film we went out there shed hunting, and they've got like a full-time dude that's just filming all their stuff and putting it on YouTube for them. And like, they're trying to, their channel obviously blew up instantly, but Lee's doing a bunch of really cool stuff with the channel, as far as like what he's doing with his farms and management stuff, and what he's doing every single day to like keep his deer and his farms just performing. And it's so funny, like, you hear all the stories about, oh, those guys hunt this, they got high fence here, there, and there. Like, tell you what, I walked 6 different farms, and I never saw a fence that was higher than my waist. I'll tell you that. Pretty wild.
Damn.
Pretty wild.
That is cool, though.
And Lee's story, cool. I mean, in the boat, like, I was like, hey, like, I need to know, like, where'd you guys come from? What'd you guys start with? And like, they came from absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's so cool.
That's sweet.
Damn, that's really cool.
I like it. Well, this has been a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys got anything else for Doug? Or we'll have him back on soon, I'm sure. We can have him back on.
You won't have me back till
it's fair.
November. I was lucky. This worked out good. I mean, normally, I got a guide trip tomorrow. ran a couple guide trips so far this year, but fishing's been grindy over here. I think I've been out.
People, the Green Bay Walleye Tour. We don't have Honor here lately. He's been a little MIA. So tell us about what's going on with the Walleye Run.
Water's pretty cold. We got 4 inches of snow yesterday. So I've been out, I want to say 5 times. I've not been in the boat for more than 25 walleye catches so far, I would say. But
Grindy.
I have 2 over 10 pounds and 6 over 28.
Sheesh.
So they're big ones, but they're not like, where are all of our fish?
Yeah.
I don't know where all of our fish are.
They just ain't spawning this year.
No, I mean, the river was 47 last week, and now it's like 37, and the bay's just ice cold. And I got a trip tomorrow, and then the Thorn guys come out Wednesday, Thursday. We're gonna try and get a video, and I'm just like, well, I hope you guys are good for fishing dark to dark and trying to catch like half a dozen walleyes. So that's what it's been.
Well, maybe after this year there'll be way less Wolf River guides, you know.
Yeah,
Fox River guys that really knock people down this year. Take them down a peg.
Like, oh my God. I was talking to my buddy Kyle about this the other day. Like, there's just like posts in these like Green Bay groups on Facebook of like this dude and that dude. I'm like, I like this guide trip or that guide trip. Like, there's just like, I don't even know who you are. Like, I don't, maybe
don't you also have to be like a certified U.S.
captain? Yeah, you have to have your captain's license. Yeah,
captain's license to go there, and substantial amount of those guides don't, or guides.
Yeah, a bunch of them don't. I mean, I had a call with, so we had a really cool meeting with our DNR this winter. We did they did this like guide panel or like guide meeting, which is really cool. But we got a fishing report from a handful of different people that work at the DNR. We had a muskie specialist and a walleye specialist. His name's Jason. And then we had a smallmouth and perch specialist, maybe it was. And then we had another lady that was whitefish specialist. But went through a bunch of cool stuff. And it's sad. Apparently there's like 112 licensed guides in Green Bay. And there was like 14 people that showed up to this meeting. So it's like, first off, like everybody got the same email. Like, why, if you're truly like care about the fishery and want to know what's going on, why aren't you here? This amazing opportunity. We get to literally talk to our DNR, like our biologists, right? Like, so anyways, there's only like a handful of people that show up. There was a Zoom call. I was watching it from Canada, my house in Canada. I was there, right? My buddy was.
So it's not even like they had to be there in person.
You didn't have to be there in person. Like, super easy. Pull it up on your phone. It was like 7 o'clock at night on a Thursday. What are you doing? But there's a bunch of really cool stats that they give out. But one of the things that I brought up is I wanted our fishing license prices increased. We have a $20 year-round fishing license, which I think is crazy. And then we have a guide license. So like, obviously you have to have your captain's license, it's a pain. It's about a month of your life, and it's going to cost you about $3,000 to $4,000 to get it. But once you have it, you can legally guide on Green Bay. With a guide license, you have to buy a Wisconsin guide license. Minnesota does not have a guide license, in case you want to know. As I've checked, I've guided there. You don't need anything.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing to me,
why Minnesota has so many guides.
But here's the crazy thing. So it's $40 for a Wisconsin guide license. And you're telling me that I can make a living off of a public resource for $40 a year. How is that fair to the fishery? If you take a customer's 3 people out on Green Bay to catch their limit of walleyes, that's five walleyes per person over 15 inches. You just killed 15 fish, and it cost you essentially $40 to do so.
Wow.
Outside of your captain's license, right? I asked her DNR, I was like, how is our captain's license not $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a year if we're making a living off of a public resource with $40 is all we have to pay? And
that's a valid point, though.
We don't have any money for stocking. We don't have any money to hire anybody. We're short on wardens. We have 2 wardens that basically patrol Green Bay. The rest of them are looking after our parks because that's apparently their job from the state, like just from a conservation aspect. And then everybody out here is riding around in a 20 or 21 or 22 foot fiberglass boat. They roll in with a $50,000 truck. They've got, all the latest and greatest electronics and all this stuff, but we're paying $40, $20 for a fishing license And then the people that are making a living off of the resource, like myself, are paying $40 to do so. That's insane.
Wow.
I mean, I haven't killed I have not harvested a limit or taken people to kill eater walleyes in probably 4 years. Like I just do trophy fishing, catch and release only is what I do now. But there's a ton of guides on Green Bay, and that's not me saying I'm better than anybody else, but there's a ton of people that take people out to catch a ton of perch. Our perch fisheries thriving right now. Got giant perch. We're some of the biggest perch, arguably in the Midwest. Like we have 17 inchers that swim out here. But then our walleye population, we get to keep 5 fish on Green Bay once season opens, and 5 over 15. There's no slot. There's no nothing. You can kill 5 30 inchers, right? And now we're the last place in the state outside of the Mississippi River where you can keep 5 walleyes per person. And so we get all the people from Lake Winnebago. We get all these other guys that are coming around, just the meat hunters that like, oh, I can go catch or kill 2 more per person on Green Bay. I'm going to go out there. And like we wonder where all of our fish are and why our fisheries are struggling. But like, and like it comes back to the guides too. Like we could eliminate so many part-time guides if we would just raise our guide license so that we could truly get the guys that are truly making a living off this or doing this for a living decided to do everything else. Like the amount of firemen and guys that are, they have a full-time job, but then they also guide on the side that are just taking trips away from true full-time guides is insane. And to say that we have 112 full-time licensed guides and 13 of them show up to the meeting is insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. But that also kind of goes against you saying like, well, I think if you really got the umption and the gumption to do this, I think you should keep a full-time job and then start guiding on the side if you want to do this. So there's a catch-22 there.
Like that.
You know what I mean? Where you're like, you should get into this, but you should also pay a $5,000 fee and dump all your eggs in this basket and quit your job right now. But then you're also like, well, I think you should keep your full-time job and then also be a guide. Like,
I like it. Devil's advocate. I like that.
But I can appreciate the conservation-minded side of it going, like that. I like that you at least recognize that you're like, dude, I'm out here every day, dude. Like, I'm putting people in the best position to be successful, and like it could be exploited.
And then maybe, and I think, and I totally agree with what you're saying too, Doug. Like, I think there should be, you could almost do tiers. You know what I mean? Maybe you have certain captains guiding license, whatever, certain tiers. If you take over this many trips, you got to pay this, or a different walleye stamp that helps go back to stock the resource and do this. Like if you're coming to Green Bay and you're out of state, you got to pay the specialty stamp. If you're keeping fish in general, you got to pay a stamp, like whatever. Yeah. There could be different ways that where you could really, you could kind of offset it and help, I guess, keep it alive. Like there's got to be ways. But when only 13 guys show up too, that's not that many people bouncing a lot of ideas off each other.
Well, and it's like they're not invested in.
Pissed. Like there was only like 2 other people that were like, yeah, I like that. Or all the other guys like, fuck no, I don't want to pay that money. I'm like, build it into your rates, dude. If you run 100 trips, charge her $20. It's more than paid for.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's I agree with the license fee and stuff like that. But what's funny is if that comment got posted on social media, you might get roasted more than you did for going to a membership fee on YouTube. For increasing people's fishing license. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Whenever there's a fishing license, like they're like, I don't know, $26 in Minnesota or something. Yeah. And they're going to bump them up to 30. There might be pickets at the Capitol the next day for that. And I've never understood it. I'm like, I don't know, I'll pay $50, $100.
But that's fishing, dude. Like you look at it in hunting, this stuff happens every day and people are like pissed, but they just pay it.
Yeah.
Like you see all this stuff out west now, like Utah's doubling their tag fees this year. So like all these big game tags used to be $600 this year, $1,200.
So like, but what's Utah doing with the money?
The state. Well, I think what they're doing is they're limiting how many. Well, they're really only doing for non-residents. So they're trying to, I think, limit or knock back how many non-residents are applying for tags outright to try to like limit point creep and stuff like that on some of these tags to try to say, okay, we're only going to get the most serious people that have the money to do it. It'll make less people apply probably. And like, I think the biggest criticism a lot of these like locals have is that we got too many non-residents coming. Right. So it's like, this is their way to like maybe do that. But on the flip side, the residents are pissed because they're going to have to start raising some of the resident tag fees. Cause they're like, dude, we had all these people that were applying and buying tags before. Now they're not going to. So you guys are going to have to make up that conservation money somewhere. Right. Whereas, like, I guess in fishing, there's way less of that. It's not, I mean, there's still places where, locals are like, oh, we don't want all these people showing up to come fishing. But, like, I think it's way more popular for people to travel to fish, spend a weekend up north, or come to Green Bay for muskie opener or whatever, right? Then, I mean, there's a big difference in the fishing license cost for a non-resident fisherman to come to Wisconsin. I think an annual fishing license maybe like $56 for a whole year or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean? But it could be. I mean, I don't know.
Also, I don't know. Like, I go back and forth on it too, where, like, you know, Doug, you're operating on a super high level. Even your clients are operating on a really high level. Bart, Ryan, myself, we're operating on a high level. We're deep into this fishing game. It's our passion. But at the same token, when you were introduced to it or somewhere down your line, people went fishing and they were not that into it. You know what I mean? But it lit a fire underneath your ass. And those people that went fishing at that time probably went once or twice a year, and they paid $25. And if they're going to go once or twice a year, or they're not even barely into it, or maybe it's a freaking dude that works at the local factory and doesn't make a ton of money, but he's got 3 kids, and this is actually a pretty cheap activity. If they're just going from the bank, I want them to be able to do it too. So, like, I don't know.
I would love if we could get away to, like, buy how many days you want to fish for, because I think the more you fish, the more you should pay, because I don't, and even a first time, like maybe your first 3 years of fishing, you don't pay anything, right? Like maybe it's a first year, right? Because none of us had in the state of Wisconsin, so you're 16, you don't have to buy a fishing license.
Yeah.
Right? So it allows you to get into the sport.
In Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right? You can get into the sport, and that's a great opportunity. And I don't want to deter anyone from coming into our sport, but if you're into our sport and you're showing up with a $100,000 boat and a $100,000 truck, and you've got all the gear and all the stuff, and you're going to bitch about a 10% or 50% increase in fishing license, piss off, buddy. Like, there's other people that need the opportunity. Like, that if you already have all this stuff, you should be not so pissed about.
Yeah. Or different types. Like, dude, like if you go to other countries, right? Like I was in Costa Rica this spring, right? If you fish from the shore, if you're a beach fisherman, no license needed.
Yep.
The moment you get on a boat, you're required to have like a recreational fishing license and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like there's different levels, right? It's like they want to give people opportunity, but it's like, yeah, you're going to go do something where you're going to be like harvesting fish and doing all this stuff. You just want to fish from shore, knock yourself out. You know, like that sets people up. You want to go bass pond fishing and go whatever, do all this stuff. Awesome. Go do it. But yeah, like to your point, it's like once you're in the game and you're doing all this stuff, you're going out on bigger lakes, you got the equipment. Like, what do you got to help fund the resource at some level. You know, it's not a free thing. Like, there's a lot of money involved in keeping these fisheries sustained. So
that's what I mean. Like, you go back to the line of 10% of the anglers catch 90% of the fish. Well, the 10% of the anglers are the guys that have all the stuff, right? Or at least 9% of them, right? I mean, there's dudes out there just crushing them in a John boat, I'm sure. But like, don't get me wrong, but like, there's plenty of guys that have all the shit, and it's not even the fishing license gets me a little fired up, but it's the guide license that really gets me fired up. Because how can I make a living off of a public resource for $40? That's absurd to me. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, it's something I would have never even thought about that, honestly. Like,
you don't have it in Minnesota. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's no income that goes back into Minnesota.
No, and that's why we have so many part-time guides. And by part-time, I mean they literally do like 5 or 6 trips a year.
But then you can write your stuff off. You can there's all those other benefits that go along with it that, I mean, we all have, like, I'm sure it's just a way to play the system, right? But it's it's just crazy. That's I don't know. Conservation is one thing that, like, I've thought about starting a podcast or doing something, but I really would have wanted to be more focused on conservation, because I think just so many things get pushed under the rug and pushed aside, and I would love to just see money go back into all these resources that we have, because that's what it takes. That's what everything takes, money. There's no, like, unless you're going to go out and pick up trash on your local shoreline or out on the ice, whatever you're going to do, like that, all that stuff helps. But if you truly want to make an impact, it costs freaking money. That's just what it is.
What did the folks at DNR say when he brought this up? Like, what was their reaction, or what did they say?
That it's not their department, and that you have to take it up with the state.
Okay.
Cool. So nothing's happening there.
No. Our fishing license is supposedly going up next year, but it's going up to like $30. So
the guide fishing license, or like statewide recreational?
Yeah, recreational.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will be pissed. Can't wait to see that post on social media. And if
I'm so excited for it. I think it's going to be awesome.
But here's the thing: once they make the decision, it's done. You bitch all you want, right?
Yeah,
Come to the spring conservation hearing, say your piece, and get the hell out of here.
There's so many crazy things and like conservation things in Green Bay that drive me wild. Like we have a catch and release bass season. This drives me nuts. I'll let you guys go, but I'm venting. We have a catch and release bass season, which you guys in Minnesota would love, right? I'm sure you would love to go to
know how much money Wisconsin gets from Minnesota anglers, bass fishermen in the spring?
Yeah.
Insane.
Or just fishermen.
Yeah. Insane.
Fishermen. Yeah.
So it drives me nuts that we have a catch and release bass season, right? So we have some of the biggest smallmouth in the world. We have in Green Bay, but obviously Wisconsin, there's green ones, there's brown ones, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
We have a catch and release bass season in the state of Green Bay. But for our walleye fishing, you can only, everywhere closes the end of February, right? For walleye season until the first Saturday in May outside of your rivers and the Great Lakes, okay? So our Great Lakes limit drops from that 5 fish limit I was talking about. So 5 over 15 drops to 1 fish over 15, right? And then in the Fox River, it's 1 fish over 28 inches, what you're legally allowed to keep. But why can we have a catch and release bass season, but not a catch and release walleye season while our walleyes are spawning?
Yeah, that's weird. That's
why?
Weird.
Because it's sacrilegious to eat a smallmouth? You can't tell me a dude in a John boat ain't throwing a slip bobber with a fathead and catching a 4-pounder off of a bed and throwing that thing in the fry pan. Let's be honest. Like, that happens. Just because it's a walleye doesn't mean you can't catch it and let it go, especially during our spawn, like right now.
Yeah.
And then you have, and this isn't throwing shade at anybody, but you have your shore fishermen, and I only say this because I've seen it happen, that guys are out there at night casting crankbaits. Sobe, you saw it. You were in the Oconto River last year.
Yeah,
it's pretty the Styles Dam.
Insane.
It's disgusting.
It's insane.
That can snag.
Those walleyes love eating a rattle trap, dude. I've seen that shit. They love it.
Yeah, right.
Eat the shit out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it so much it hits them in the back.
Exactly. And then that freaking 30-incher gets thrown in the back of a truck that came and got caught freaking snagged in the tail.
That's wild.
And and the only place we have fish, what do you want to call sanctuaries? We have one in the Fox River. Yeah. There's one above the power lines. It's like 300 yards from the power lines to the dam. Not even 150 yards, maybe. And then there's one at the Peshigo River, same thing above the high lines. But like where Sobe was on the Oconto River by Styles Dam, you can fish right up to the dam.
Yeah.
As much as you want. And there's dudes just snagging giants down there.
And there's folks everywhere down there. Like that is there's a lot of people down there.
But then we make the argument in this meeting. I'm like, can we please set up a fish refuge for Styles Dam and the Menominee River, like our other 2 main tributaries? They're like, well, at the Styles Dam, so where you were, Sobe, you saw it firsthand. They're like, there's not a physical point of reference that we could do it with because they think that the highway is too far away, which is like a quarter mile down the river. That's too far away because we don't want to
run a rope and buoys across.
That's it's literally what I told them. You can't tell me you can't hook a cable to a freaking tree that's 100 years old on each side of the river and put some orange buoys across it, and this is the line. How is this not a thing? How do we not have a refuge for our fish? And you caught some fish, and you caught some fish in the mouth, but you can't tell me that you didn't snag 5 times.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of fish, dude. And they're up there doing their birds and their bees.
And we have a natural fishery. Our fishery does not get stocked. We have a 100% natural fishery. So I don't understand why we're not protecting. Who wants to go home? And maybe I'm wrong. That's not me, but I'm going to go home and clean my 1 15-inch walleye. And once you keep your fish, you can't continue to fish. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's people bending the rules all the time and whatever. Guys come on my boat. I'm like, catch release only. Like that's just what it is, right? Maybe that's me being a prick, but like that's just the way I run my show. Because all of a sudden a guy catches a 27-incher on his last cast. He's like, oh, I'm going to take this home and eat it. No, you're not. It's going back in the water. Sorry. But it's just there's so many interesting things that we can like. Because they're walleyes, we don't need a catch and release season. But if it's a bass, oh my God, we can't keep a bass.
There's a lot of different oxymorons like that where like even in Minnesota, like we don't have a catch and release season right now. And when bass opens up for a majority of our state, that's right when they go on the bed. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like they're all through the ice, like the whole end part of ice season. No bass are harassed. Basically, bass aren't harassed all ice season because people aren't fishing bass through the ice. And then they're not harassed all pre-spawn when they're eating and feeding. And then once they go on the bed, it's like everybody's pumped to get out fishing. It's like, damn, we're just smoking them off the bed. You know, like it's
what do
wild.
you guys have for like? Do you guys have predators on your beds for your bass? Like, are there stuff that'll go in and eat their fry or the eggs?
Not really. No, they do pretty good.
That's our problem. Like our gobies just destroy our smallmouth, and we have every freaking swinging dick, especially from down south, that love to put their power poles down and catch the same 12 bass every fucking day. It just drives me up a wall.
That's wild.
That is great.
Gobies just go and destroy our nests, and like I can't stand bed fishing for our smallmouth. It's absolutely insane to me. I wish we had you can't obviously close the season. You don't know where it's going to be, but like,
yeah.
Then you have the Sturgeon Bay Bass Tournament and all these other bass tournaments and all this other stuff. And it's crazy. But like we have this amazing resource and we just are not protecting it the way I feel we should be.
I do think that's a crazy point though, not to like keep beating this, but like I guess I don't even think about that as like these Great Lakes fish are like a natural reproduction. You know what I mean? Like over here, like a lot of our walleye fisheries are pretty heavily stocked. You know what I mean? And it's like they're managed as such. But like, man, when we talked to Stolsky about how much regulation there is on a lot of these like spawning salmon runs out west, and in Idaho and Washington and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, like you got this natural spawning migration of fish that it's like hyper concentrating Great Lakes fish in these like very small river areas, and there's zero additional regulation on that. Then there would be just going down to freaking any other lake in the state basically and just going out fishing, which is pretty wild, honestly.
Yeah, that's crazy. They did some really cool studies. So you guys, Sobe, you fished the Open?
Which Open?
Sturgeon Bay Open.
Yeah, I have a couple
one of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Bart, have you ever fished the Open or any of the tournaments over there?
No.
So there was a big thing now that the tournament guys are getting crucified for, because a lot of these guys were going and catching bags from up north or wherever it was, and then they're driving these fish 40, 50 miles back down to Little Sturgeon or Sturgeon Bay, where they're actually doing the weigh-in and the releasing of the fish, this, that, and the other, and everybody was worried that they're pulling all of the big fish from the other parts of the bay and then locating them to the southern part of the bay where they're doing all the weigh-ins. So the one guy, he was my favorite biologist that we had in that DNR meeting was the bass guy. I loved everything about him. Super cool dude. I never knew who he was prior, but they did a transmitter study with bass, and they put GPS trackers in them, and they brought fish down from Egg Harbor, and they brought fish down from Ephraim and Sister Bay, and moved them all the way down to Little Sturgeon Bay and released them. And so far it was like 90% of them in over 6 months had made it back to where the guys had caught them, or like to the mouth of that bay.
That's incredible.
Insane.
Wow.
Dude, that's
Holy
like, so
shit.
they do those sort of studies with like the St. Lawrence River and Lake Ontario when the guys are out there for those elite events, and those smallmouth will swim like 100 miezi. It's crazy. They just got like a GPS pin in their head. I don't get it.
So
but they get back.
It's crazy. I didn't know that. And I had no faith for those smallmouth, right? So, and I think it comes down to certain fish too. So I helped with when I worked for Brett, UW Stevens Point was doing a really cool muskie survey in the bay here. We put transmitters in muskies, and I got to be part of that. I gave them a couple fish, but basically they were waiting for anglers to catch the fish. They worked with a couple guides. Brett and Kyle and some other guys had done it with them in 2017, and then 2018 they're getting some more fish to finish it up. I think they had like 56 or 57 muskies, but that we put these GPS transmitters in and then released them, whatever. And then there was GPS trackers all over the bay, and it was wild because every single fish, and they tracked them over 3 years. And then Stevens Point put out the study, and it was just absolutely incredible. You could see the sex of the fish, the size of the fish, where they were caught, and every fish had like their own page where they had pinged off all the satellites and the dates that they had done so, which is this incredible information. But every fish was its own fish. So they all had their own personalities. There were some fish that were total homebodies. There was a 53-incher that lived in Green Bay, and it was like it lived in a 2-mile radius for like 3 years. And then there was a 37-incher that literally was swimming like 50 miles every 2 days and like made its way up to like above the peninsula, like up towards Sault Ste. Marie and like towards Lake Huron. Like the thing was just gone. It was a total nomad.
Wow.
And then there was fish that would like go back to the same river and, you know, do their same spawning like you would expect them to, right? Like they go and spawn in the same river every spring. And then there was a fish that literally went in all 4 of our major tributaries in the same spring in like a 2-week period of time. This female went into 4 different rivers and finally like picked one to go and spawn in.
No kidding.
It's like, what was wrong with the first 3 rivers you went to?
Right.
But then like there was some that like would go to one river one spring and then the next year they would go to a different river, and like they're just like humans. They all have their own personality and they're all different. And there's like you can find the study on Stevens Point's website. It's absolutely incredible. It's super cool.
That is sick, actually. I'll have to look that up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And one thing too, if you guys haven't looked, there's a documentary on the Great Lakes they just did called All Too Clear.
I seen that. I haven't gotten to watch it yet.
Oh
I was
my
on their
God.
Instagram.
Oh my God.
Who did that?
Yeah, I
just
did watch that actually. It is
Search all,
crazy.
did you see the full thing, Pink?
I did. Yeah.
It's so cool. Like they go through all the invasive species. So it's called All Too Clear, Sobe. They've got an Instagram page, but the whole series is on YouTube. It was like
What's the YouTube channel? Do you know?
I think it's All Too Clear.
It's just All Too Clear. Yeah.
Search
It was
All
like
Too
a big
Clear.
project. Yeah.
It was amazing. Like they have like the whitefish stuff, like all the species were amazing, but it's basically based around zebra mussels and how they've and invasive species in the Great Lakes and gobies and all this stuff. And like the photo or like the videography is like it's like
I seen a bunch.
It's like Planet Earth.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's like National Geographic.
Yes,
type
National Geographic.
shit.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
Wow.
Like there's lake trout stuff and smallmouth stuff, musky stuff, pike stuff. Like the whitefish thing is insane. Like how important the whitefish are, and like all the microorganisms in the system, and like where Lake Superior is at with the whole thing. It's at, like if you fish the Great Lakes or even like fishing, you have to watch that series. It's absolutely incredible, and it'll change your mind and get you just thinking a lot about conservation and the future of our lakes and everything else. It's super cool.
Yeah.
And it gets you thinking too, like we all live in like the Great Lakes region here. And it's like pretty amazing to think like, for you, I mean, you're out there all the time. And it's like, for some of us, it's like we make a handful of trips over to fish Lake Michigan or maybe go up to Lake Superior or something each year. But it's like, man, there are some pretty epic fisheries happening in the Great Lakes region that it's like, I think just people don't even think about, right? I mean, people think about the Great Lakes and maybe they think about smallmouth, or maybe they're people that just fish salmon or whatever. But it's like, there's a ton of cool shit happening and like all of this conservation behind it. And to your point, all the money being pumped into this to make it work. I mean, it's not like this stuff just happens. It's like, there's a huge, huge industry built around the Great Lakes and the fisheries associated with it. But yeah, good point, dude. That is actually an awesome documentary on that. But yeah.
That's a good one.
I've got a question for you, and this is just, I don't even want to say who brought this like idea in my head, but somebody really prevalent in the fishing industry talked about this, and I thought it was a really interesting take where like he thought if you really sit back and look at it, like fishing seasons in general, when you make them, when you put regulation on them, almost to an extent shift fishing pressure so much that we're almost, I don't know, it's almost like we're almost playing God a little bit with how we shift fishing pressure, in the sense where like, say there was, and even if we just talk about Minnesota, say there was no fishing seasons ever, then it's like, it's not centrally focused around just crappie fishing in the spring when they're all going up to nest. And that's the only thing we can fish for. So they get pillaged, they get smoked, they're on the nest. Well, I can't go for bass. I can't go for walleyes. I can't go for pike. Can't go for muskies. And also Mother Nature, everything is almost cyclical to a sense, and it works itself out. Obviously there's a lot more fishing pressure and technologies change and we're better at doing what we love to do. But would things be worked out better if we as humans didn't shift fishing pressure all over? Just like, why do I come out and fish in the river in my waders for those walleyes? Because damn, I can't go for bass. I can't go for walleye here. I can't go for pike here. I can't do anything here. Boom. I'm one of one, but there's thousands of people that will now go out there and do that just right there. Like there'd be way less pressure in those really intense areas where they spawn. but that's the only thing that's open. So it's like, who's doing this?
Yeah.
Like we're, you know, I mean,
I like that. I like
you
that.
know what I mean? Like,
I've been very adamant on that. Like, I mean, I don't think it's any secret that like I greatly enjoy tournament bass fishing, and I have done quite well. Kind of my styles, like in the spring, like when fish are getting up shallow, doing their thing and stuff like that. Like love it that, and I'm good at doing that. But I never do it fun fishing. And what drives me nuts is whenever it opens here and I'm like, oh, I want to go fun fishing. And I like go run to a lake and I get out there and I'm like, oh, they're all in beds.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And then
But
I
here-
like go somewhere else. Whereas if we just had it open all the time in March, April, I can go fish for pre-spawn fish and do all that stuff. And then when they hit the beds, I'm like, all right, like I can take a week off on this lake, week or two off, let them do their thing. I have my fun, or I'll go somewhere else or whatever. It's just, you limit all this pressure to there. And I still, I mean, it's just all the stuff around the spawn, something that's never made sense to me in Minnesota. I don't know if this is your guys' way, Doug, but one that's never made sense for me in Minnesota. Our smallmouth season closes to catch and release the second weekend of September.
What?
yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
I've never understood why.
I mean,
So then all it does is concentrate our tournament season even more into May, June, July, August.
Adam, are you talking about when the water's really hot and they would just thrive less inside a small live well? Is that
or actually they're spawning, because that's the other thing people like, you know, everybody talks about the spawning pressure of smallmouth or largemouth or whatever. I mean, now with technology and stuff we've seen, stuff I guess I've learned over the last 5 to 10 years is like, dude, smallmouth are spawning until like the end of July, dude. So if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I want to avoid the spawn entirely, you'd have to cut off 3 months. Like they do it at so many different times. And that's not even talking about the fall spawn that Zona just filmed. So it's like trying to avoid those certain things, I think just aren't even out there. But like you said, playing God and creating seasons where you just
so much pressure and it moves.
It puts so much pressure and it's crazy.
Opposed to being like, you know, I got 25 lakes that are all within 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hit them because I'm going to hit the only area that's open.
Yeah.
And that's the same with a lot of people.
Yeah, and I've never
true,
understood
but that's
never
also
understood.
assuming like blanket that you got to figure that all sportsmen have similar ethics though too, you know, because like you could say that, and for this group of guys right here, maybe that's the solution, right? You say, well, this is going to limit now, instead of all 4 of us fishing for crappies in the spring, like Doug's going to go musky fishing and Sobe's going to go catch smallmouth, right? And it's like spreads it out, but it's like, dude, there's so many people that are just greedy as shit. And it's like, they're going to go and fish only betting smallmouth, period. That's their favorite thing in the world, is to go catch big ones on a bed and post them on Instagram.
So this is
but maybe true. Also, even like there's folks that are going to go out to Lake Minnetonka, which is, it's an incredible resource for crappies. And they're going to go bang their limits and they're just going to go catch a ton of crappies, put a ton of hooks in a ton of crappies faces, whether they're pre-spawn or not, whatever. It's just like, you're going to go from thousands and thousands of people that are only going for crappies, when it's like half those people wouldn't even fish for crappies. We'd be going for bass. You know, half those people would just be like, I'm just throwing a freaking, I would just be throwing a freaking spoon and catching a pike or a bass or whatever. But now it's like everyone's only bobber fishing for this. Everyone's only doing this. Like everyone's only fishing the tributaries in Green Bay for their walleyes right now. Like what if largemouth was just, it's interesting.
I mean, it would take a ton of pressure off of the Great Lakes, because like there's 7 license plates here next week. Like that's 100%. Just what it's going to be. I mean, and it's a really interesting set, and I like that a lot. The one thing that I have a huge that just boils my blood, and sorry Bart, is tournaments. Like I can't freaking stand them. And multiple reasons, but I like what Pink said too. Like ethics is a huge thing. There's so much that comes down to ethics, and the problem with why Bart won't fish a bed if he's fun fishing, but will fish a bed if he's in a tournament, is ethics, because Bart feels bad about it when he's fun fishing, but if he's in a
money hungry
tournament,
bastard. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Money-
Yeah, he's a freaking
I am.
bass hole.
Freaking gold
He's
digger.
he's a bass hole. But
Yeah.
then the problem is that because someone else is going to go bed fishing and beat Bart if Bart doesn't go bed fishing too.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem is people can't. And this is a whole nother topic. I mean, forward facing sonar is a whole other topic with muskies and everything together. But just having ethics and having a cutoff line, or respect for the fish or respect for the resource, and the tournament thing, I think is wild. I think it sounds like the bass guy that was at our meeting was talking about that a lot of those spring bass tournaments on Green Bay or Sturgeon Bay area now we're going to be catch and immediate release. They're going to go to a different format, which would be, I would love that. I would absolutely love that because of our gobies is the biggest deal. I mean, you've got guys that are making 50, 60 mile runs, and there's fish that are going to get beat up and whatever else too. But the tournament thing, it drives me nuts. It really, really drives me nuts. I respect it. Like I watch the Classic. I watch a bunch of the Elite Series stuff when I'm not fishing and guiding, and follow it and think it's.
Is it the tournament fishing that grinds your gears, or is it tournament fishing during bed season that grinds your gears?
Mainly during bed season.
Okay.
Mainly during bed season. I think that's the one thing that drives me nuts. But also like with all the the one thing that drives me nuts, and this is outside of tournament fishing, and just fishing rules in general, is I don't like how we have, say, our state records or our records in place that go based off of weight. I think that's so unfair to the fish, due to the fact that if you catch the same fish at a different period of time in the year, that fish could be 15-20% lighter, 15% lighter, or heavier in a certain aspect, and it just comes down to genetics, where I think length is so much more fair, and length could literally be, I respect the weight thing, and I think I've caught some really heavy fish, and I have a scale in my boat to weigh fish because I want to know what they weigh, and I think it's super cool when you catch a big giant fat one. But as far as tournaments, like, I don't understand why we can't go to a length record release format,
and especially when everybody's
like, so they wouldn't have to transport them.
100%.
You could get it would be easier for people to get consistent measurements.
People can't afford to do the MLF style where you have someone in the boat, obviously, to weigh them, and you have to pay somebody to be there. But if you and your tournament partner are fishing together and everybody gets a standardized bump board, and with our cell phones, we have to take video proof of how long the fish is, and you go based off of total inches. You can either do the tournament by inches, or you can have a weight associated with each inch increment that you want.
Right.
It's catch, record, and then immediate release. And then you avoid all the other things that can happen. I mean, you don't see guys bringing 20 pounds of ice in their live well to keep their fish cool. Like, we all want to do what's good for the fish, but if we really want to do what's best for the fish, we don't put them in a live well.
Yeah, I think I think with the tournament style, and just seeing it, like, I mean, we've talked about this on the podcast before, and even with, like, I'm doing this year, I'm not fishing very many more tournaments this summer just because I just want to go fun fishing. I just like fishing, kind of like what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast. But I think what Dane and what Scott Bonham started with the Champions Tour and what Dane's got going now with it is that's going to end up being the future of tournament fishing. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's going to have to be, just in terms of conservation and resources. How long it'll take, I have no idea, but that is where it's going to end up being. And I think it's slowly becoming more acceptable. Like, at first everyone was like, oh, everyone's cheaters. Because I mean, there's a lot of shady people on the fishing end of the side once there's money involved. And that's slowly figuring itself out as well. But I think a lot of that's going to end up changing, and that has always been a thing. I guess, Doug, like, I have wanted to fish that Sturgeon Bay Open. Like, I think it'd be super fun. And it seems like Sturgeon Bay is doing better and better every year from people I've talked to out there. Seems like it's doing great. But the thing I've never understood is how there's somehow more and more and more tournaments every spring there. And I'm always like, can I sign up for one in July? Like, or, June, late June?
The Sturgeon Bay Open in May gets 200 boats, and the Sturgeon Bay Open that they hold in September gets like 40 boats.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, people don't even know the fall Sturgeon Bay Open exists. Like, there's a whole nother, the same exact tournament directors, the same exact thing. They have another derby in September. and there's
Wow.
like 40 boats that show up.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the big, you know, you're shot at 8-pounders, you know, pretty much gone. You don't have pre-spawn, like whatever, all that stuff that goes along with it. But it's crazy. And like, I mean, I'm not, bass fishing is my weakest link out of my, you know, 4 major species or 3 species that I target. But I mean, the bass fishing over here has just got insanely difficult and insanely hard. And even the people that I look up to a ton, like Luke Ronestrand, he's one of my
Yeah.
best friends and a dude that is he's been the biggest mentor in my career for me. It's just like, yeah, man, like like Luke's been fishing Sturgeon Bay. He's been fishing the open for over 10 years. And he's just like, the fishery is so much different than it was 10 years ago. He's like, you know, you could go out and you could catch 30, 40, 50 fish a day, you know, not even hardly trying. And now you're like busting your balls to catch 10, 15 fish in a day.
Wow.
Like with all the technology we have. And like, I mean, you want to talk about attention to detail. Like Luke is the most insane,
Absolutely.
absolute human that I know, like the best fisherman I know, hands down. But it's just the fishery's changed a lot. We still have those top end fish, and like we're getting better as anglers too. And I'm not keeping up with the smallmouth curve just because I don't really, it doesn't drive me like it used to. I don't know. There's so much pressure here now, and like the cedars is a joke. Like it's crazy how hard the spots get fished. And once the tournament season comes around, like all those guys come in and there's like 4 tournaments in a row, weekend to weekend to weekend, all piggybacked. And I just get out of there. Like I'm gone. Like I've just basically eliminated my May guiding. I go hang out with my wife and it's her birthday and we go do a trip and I go do something else because I can't fish around it. But I would just love to see the tournaments go to you know, length and release, especially on the walleye side. So our walleye fishing here, NWT does a tournament, whatever, here generally every year. But even the NWT, when you get these tournaments, when you don't have a 5-fish limit, like your bass fisheries that have a 5-fish limit, and these guys have these tournament anglers go to these places and they have to bring in their 5 fish, but there's slot limits and regulations that only allow them to bring in 2 overs and then they need 3 unders. It's like, well, I want to know the dude that's catching the 5 biggest walleyes. I don't care who got lucky and caught a 17 and 7/8 incher. Like, why are like, and then, you know,
Really
the dude's
weird.
like, oh yeah, I had 2 really good overs, but I couldn't get my unders today. Well, like, what if you got 5 overs and you freaking caught the biggest 5 walleyes out there today, but you're not getting the check for $100,000 because some dude caught 3 17 and 3 ace or 7/8 inchers and just got lucky. Like there's skill to catching that right fish. Don't get me wrong, but I want to know who caught the 5 biggest fish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's another topic. I cut you off. Sorry, Sylvie.
No. I'm really thinking, and it's like, if it's all in the same fishery, like why would length? Yeah. Record with video, just length.
Well, everybody's playing by the same rules at the end of the day.
Yeah. On the same
That's
fishery.
what matters, right? Like if it's going to go by length, great. It's by length. Everyone's going by length. You know, like I guess I don't see it. There's been a lot of success with it on like the kayak side. I mean, they're running a full kayak Bassmaster tour solely based on length.
Solely on length.
You know, so it's like it's already being implemented. It's not like new. It seems like the natural progression, though. I don't know.
I hope it goes that way, but like, and also like, I don't know. But then you take away the weigh-in side of things. Like you guys were just at the Classic, right? Like people go to that weigh-in stage to see somebody pull an 8-pounder out of, like to see Easton pull an 8-pounder out of his freaking live well. Like people go to see that too. But then there's these tournament series, and this is me just picking on the NWT, but like the NWT has a weigh-in for their walleye anglers, and there's not to be rude, but there's not that many people there that aren't friends and family of whoever's competing. And yet we just brought 100 limits of walleyes in off of the Great Lakes to hold up in front of your friends and family for what? Why are we doing this to our fishery? It drives me nuts when there's not a demand for it, or like people that are willing to do it.
It's like I said earlier, and I will 100% put my hand up and say it at a point with tournament anglers. And if you say this isn't the reason as a tournament angler, you're lying to yourself. It's all an ego thing. Like that's what it is, you know, 100%. Like I'll put my hand up and say that. Yeah, I want to go out and bring in 5 bigger fish than anyone. And I want to show you they're bigger than you. You know,
I'm gonna bet you $50 or
exactly, and that's the way it's been forever. But but that's also me saying now, like right? 5 years ago, that's what I was like. That's all I wanted. That's all I cared about. I'd do whatever to go get a check. And, you know, do whatever's in the rules, obviously. I'm not doing anything outside. But now it's like, you know, you're looking at it now and you're like, man, kind of a little crazy when you really think about it.
Oh, it's really crazy.
But I think there is certain parts of it too. And we do, like, even with Texas, right, where they just had the Classic, they do a very good job with their stocking efforts and everything with bass down south. So there, I'm not necessarily as worried about it because it's like, okay, we're giving into the resource and we're taking out a bit, but we're giving a lot more back. Whereas I feel like up north, it maybe is a little bit different, but also we have so much better natural reproduction of bass specifically up here. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be putting more efforts into that, you know?
Oh, hats off to Texas Parks and Wildlife. Like the ShareLunker program, they do all that stuff they do. That's insane. Like how much money does that cost? And where's that money coming from? And why can't we do, not that we want to necessarily do a ShareLunker program, but just stocking in all our lakes. Like the Minnesota musky fishery is just crashed due to stocking, and it's so sad.
Hey, I mean, that's the whole push we've been, it's crappies, but it's a push we've been behind with crappies is just trying to get bigger ones back and everything. Cause I mean, you've seen it the last 2 or 3 years with so much significantly less fishing pressure, how big they've gotten around here. And like I was telling people the other day, I was like, my biggest movement for ice fishing and everything is I'm going to try to get white crappies stocked in every lake in the state of Minnesota. That's my goal, just because I want hybrids everywhere, baby. And I think it'll be really good for the fisheries.
What if, I mean, why not baby steps, Doug? Like, why can't you start a Musky Guide Alliance? Like, you know how you ever check out at like Walmart and they're like, you know, would you like to round up your total here to go toward this or blah, blah, blah? And you usually click no or yes, or depending upon whatever, who's watching. And like, why not at the end of a trip, you've got a way for guys to go, maybe it's clients, would you like to donate $20 to the Musky Guide Alliance? And it's where like, you don't have to, nothing inclined, but like, if you'd like to, whatever, it's like you guys are seeing the most recreational musky anglers in your boats more than anybody. It's like maybe those folks would donate. And it's like, that's maybe somewhere, I guess, I don't know, just a thought. Like, 100%. And that's just a small little thought. I don't know.
All that fundraising stuff, right? Like tonight, I donated a 8-hour trip for that St. Jude's tournament that's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
That you guys have, right? So there's a guy from over there, Timmy Peterzan and Jack Allen.
You gave it to Timmy and Jack. All right, I'm getting one from you next year. All right.
Oh, I told like 2 people this today, and they were both. Jared from Fish Electronics was like, "What the hell? I would have taken that." So, anyways, I just donated a trip to that St. Jude's thing, and then I donate a trip or 2 every year to our local musky club here. And
actually, I'm gonna get a trip from Jesse Baker.
That would go for way more. Like
I know.
Triple.
I'm gonna do that.
Triple. But just, I mean, doing anything, right? I love that idea, Sobe. I love that. There's some really good clubs. There's a club in Madison that does a really good job. They call it Adopt-a-Musky. So it's basically $20 a muskie, and you're basically buying a stocked fish, and then they actually give you the numbers off of the pit tag that they put in the muskie. And then you can track that and see, like, you know, if anyone else catches your muskie or if
that's pretty sweet, dude. And that makes it personal enough for people to be like, I'd get behind that. Like
100%. Like,
dude, really I would love that. That would be so funny. But I'd get one on Tonka and I'd be like, son of a bitch, leave the point, dude.
It's cool. Like it's so I think it's $20 a piece, or it's 6 for 100. So I have a customer. I mean, I haven't fished the Madison chain in years, but every year he comes, I give him $100. I'm like, you know, I fished back there back in the day. Like, here, take this. I want to adopt 6 muskies. I'm never going to see them or anything else. But he sends me a thing in the mail. It's got all my pit tag numbers from the 6 fish that I bought for the year and everything else. But there's so many creative ways to do it. We just have to come together to find ways to put money back into it, because I mean, especially people like myself that are making a living off of it. I mean, Sobe's making somewhat of a living off of fisheries and fishing in itself.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you guys with the Chronicles, like all of us, we're all responsible for it in one shape or form.
Wouldn't that be ridiculous though? Like, where if you bought muskies in 8 premier muskie locations, and then like if somebody catches it, maybe, I don't know, then maybe they're throwing it at the drawing to get a free, you know, whatever, a big trip or something, whatever. Like if you caught one of Doug's muskies, it's like, boom, you get this, or maybe you get some folks with a ton of coin behind it, being like, you know, you caught Deion Sanders bass.
Hell yeah.
You get to go on to Deion Sanders stocked pond, and Deion's like, oh, I bought 100,000 bass. Like whatever. I don't know. Then it gets you in a drawing. Like I don't know. I could see people getting behind it. That's cool. The Adopt-a-Fish deal is really, that's interesting.
Yeah, Adopt-a-Musky. That's at Capital Cities Musky Club in Madison. They are the best club. I've spoken to a lot of clubs, and like they are so well attended, super young audience. Like their age range is super good. They do a killer job. Killer job.
That's sick.
Adopt-a-Musky, baby.
Love it. All right. Well, do any of the guys got anything else? We'd asked if everyone had anything else about an hour ago, but here we are.
I went on a conservation tangent. I'm sorry.
No, it's all
dude.
interesting talk. Like, and
It's needed.
And you know, we don't have it figured out. You know, the DNR doesn't have it figured out. You as a guide out there, you don't have it figured out. We don't have it figured out. Like nobody. But the more conversations we have, and I feel like the more ideas that bounce off, and you go, "What'd you think of this or this?" Or it's like, I don't know. At least gets us closer to better solutions. It's all good. It's really good conversation to just have.
Okay.
I like it.
Can I ask one more question that's going to go 15 minutes? I know it's going to go.
Oh, fuck.
Can I let me grab a drink of water and a cold beer
Sure, you gotta
and a
ask
quick pee.
He'll be back in a half
Oh,
hour.
boy.
What's your question?
No,
I feel like
do you know what it's going to? It has nothing to do with what I like to fish for. It has everything to do with what you guys like to fish for.
Well, Pink likes to fish for muskies, so
I know Pink does, but I'm saying this isn't a fish that I target normally twice a year because my wife likes to. But
so you're talking crappies, okay?
100% crappies. I want to talk about the new Linders video on Barotrauma.
Oh, great. We're going to get Aaron nice and pissed off.
Again?
Damn it.
I just want to know your thoughts on it. That's all. The new study. That's all I want to talk about.
Well, I watched it. It is very evident they watched Aaron's video.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I thought it was what I expected.
So you weren't buying into the no barotrauma thing the entire time?
I think it also there's literally no scientific evidence of any of this on my side. I think it also depends on where the fish are being, like, I think every body of water is very different and every type of crappie is very different.
Okay.
So I think where they've done this, and also they're catching like all 5 inchers. Like there's no, decently sized crappies in a lot of that study from what I've seen.
But
Could be wrong.
may I add,
yeah.
In Aaron's study, the only fish that struggled were the big ones.
True. But I think every fish is just so different. But I do think barotrauma is like 100% a thing in crappies. I think if you're saying it's not.
Was that the question?
Yeah, he was asking what we thought of the new
Linder study with barotrauma.
I said, "Oh, great, we're gonna piss Aaron off."
Yeah. Well, and like we talked about this like at length a couple times on the pod before.
You're talking the one that just recently came out this winter. Yeah.
The new one.
Yeah.
The one after Aaron's.
Yeah.
The rebuttal to Aaron's video.
Yeah.
And
But
nothing against Aaron. Nothing against Aaron.
No, Aaron, we love you.
Yes, we love you, Aaron.
But like I said, even when we talked about this the first time, before the second one even came out or like whatever, we've talked about how on lakes that we've personally experienced stuff, not that we did a study or anything like that, but we've experienced fish struggling coming out of not even that deep of water and stuff like that. And like being like, maybe those fish just generally live shallower and they're more affected by it just because of their life pattern or whatever it is. I don't know. But it's very apparent that doing it on one lake versus another might change the results quite a bit. So I don't know that any of it is super conclusive either way, other than it's to say this is generally something that really should be expanded on more and more and more. I don't think doing 1, 2, 3 studies only is something that you can definitively say anything about, right? I mean, it gets the conversation going and you say, hey, maybe there's more to this than we think, and maybe we improve things every time we do this. But like, how can even just that little bit of, information definitively tell you anything?
Yeah.
Other than that there is correlation, right?
But I think definitively you can say barotrauma is without a doubt freaking totally real on places that it's real. Come on. How many crappies you caught that they are blown out through the freaking mouth into next year and the eyes are popped out, and it is not even close to close its mouth, burp it, and let it, come on.
Yeah.
No way. No way. You guys have caught more Barotrauma crappies than probably anybody listening to this pod right now.
Actually,
Come on.
I would actually highly argue we haven't because we don't go fish that.
Well, we don't target them
okay,
over
okay,
we don't
Adam,
target.
but did you just start crappie fishing like 2 or 3 years ago?
in
Come
your
on.
whole life.
What were you doing from age 15 to age 21? Basin fishing, drilling them out, and freaking we would somehow end up finding them. We've Barotrauma tons and tons of crappies in the Bemidji area, in the metro.
I'm seriously saying here, I don't remember fishing over 25 feet very much, especially because where we're from, Sobe, there's just not a lot of it.
What? Come on.
Well, I've definitely
Come on,
nuked a bunch.
You
I
have,
know,
nuked,
yeah.
you have Barotrauma nuked a ton of fish 5 miles from my house. Dude, come on.
I'm trying to think. 5 miles from your house.
Look what I started.
Text me the name of the lake.
I just wanted your guys' opinion on it because like when all that
I
stuff
actually
came
don't
out,
know what lake you're talking about right now.
Look at the chat, buddy. Come on. Come on.
In the chat.
Come on. Come on.
wee.
Ugh, yeah.
So, anyways,
Oh no, yeah,
Oh, no, yeah. Oh,
no. What I'm gonna say is,
well, there, sure. Okay.
no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
You
here,
didn't burp them and let them go weird nicely.
out there, Sobe. I haven't fished out there very much. I've maybe only fished out there 4 or 5 times in my life. But 2, that's a lake that Pink is talking about where
Yeah, exactly.
we've caught them in like 12 feet.
Yeah.
And they're Barotrauma bobbed.
And that's what I'm
But-
saying. Like,
but it's like
exists.
one fish, and then you catch 10 more, and they're fine. And you're like, what? But
That's
I'm
what
not.
I'm saying, dude. It's like
but-
all over the map with how they
Yeah,
react.
I was saying
But
like,
to say like it doesn't exist is like totally
It's a-
crazy.
It's
Like,
a thing,
no,
but
no.
I
I'm
don't think
saying
there's
it
like
exists.
a threshold where you're like, if it's this across the board, that's
yeah,
how
I
it
definitely
works.
think it's
Sobe,
like
I was more of saying I don't recall going out to just 40 feet somewhere, drilling it out, and being like, "Guess what I'm gonna do?
Oh, but
Barotrauma
dude,
bob, baby."
yeah, I know. But
Here we
when we were young,
It's been
fishing
very
around the
few.
Bemidji-
I
when
think
we
our
were-
metro fish just have higher blood pressure, dude.
Yeah.
But when we were young fishing Bemidji, we would, Adam, you were there. Like it would happen all the time. Like, I mean, we weren't like trying to do it, but like, yeah, it happened. Like,
Well, and that was
happened.
probably before you ever thought about that, right? Like,
Absolutely,
you didn't
yeah.
have a concept that
Yes.
that was going to be a problem.
Yeah, we were
or
17.
whatever.
Are you
And
kidding
over
me?
time, you understand better. Like, wow, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be targeting them there unless I fully intend to keep every single one of them. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I dove in deep the one when all the stuff came out. I dove in super deep and I listened to everything and anything about it. I remember Adam talking about a fish, like a big one. Maybe it was like a 15 or 16 incher that you caught out of like 12 feet of water.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, it's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
place, that lake, whatever,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Okay,
Well,
but
yeah.
I remember you saying like there was no reason for that fish to blow up, but it blew up even coming out of 12 feet of water.
Yeah.
And it was so like that stuck in my mind for so long, and it's so crazy to just think about. Obviously, like Pink said, there's not a certain threshold, or maybe we can't. There's not a certain number, but should us as anglers put a number on it to say, hey man, if you're going to go target a fish deeper than 20 feet, 25 feet, whatever that number is, right? This is the way you should go about it. And obviously you can't make anybody do anything, but there's only you guys have the platform to do such a thing. I have the platform to do such a thing. Sobe's platform just to educate anglers, because that's all we have to do, because you're still going to have guys that are going to go out and do whatever they want. They don't care what you say, what you do. But I just think it was really interesting, and I wanted to hear your guys' just thoughts on the rebuttal of the Linders one. And the one that I found really interesting was how many fish. And Jeremy called me right after they did it, because Jared and I are good buds, but he called me and he was all fired up. He's like, dude, you wouldn't believe, because the big issue was the tube, right? In the first one, that was the tube. The fish couldn't swim down. He's like, the descending device. He goes, you wouldn't believe how many fish we got down there with the descending device. We dropped them, and 30 minutes later they came up. It's like, it didn't matter if you caught that fish 5 feet off bottom and you dropped it back down to the bottom, right? Like deeper than where it came from. But that fish still had air that it couldn't get rid of. And it went down with the descending device and it stayed there for 30 minutes, but it was fighting it the whole time. And eventually that fish was just so tired, it slowly just came back up to the surface. And that's what, and not saying that what Aaron did as best as Aaron could do with what Aaron had, right? He did a phenomenal job, like watching on the live scope, seeing everything. But Aaron couldn't ever pick out that same single fish out of that school and see, what the fish was doing. And that my biggest thing with the whole Aaron study was the only 2 fish that he had struggle were the big ones, right? Your older fish. And then I just take this over to, my world or musky fishing.
Yeah.
And we all, myself and Pink for sure, understand how fragile muskies are. And like, if we're having trouble with 5 and 6 inch crappies, like Bart's talking about, what happens with a 50-inch muskie or a 15-inch crappie? You're like, these fish that we want to hold and hang out with more and get more pictures of and all this other stuff. And it's so crazy. And we just have to be so mindful of what we're doing and how we're doing it. I don't know. It's just a conversation.
I'm interested is like, has Aaron never seen where it's been so blown out through the mouth where it's like not possible that it's ever going to live again? Like, is that I'm interested. Has he ever seen that? Like, how many times you've been fishing wintering smallmouth and they're super deep on some of your favorite lakes, Adam, and you accidentally catch a walleye and it's just through the mouth?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can think of one specific scenario right now because you were in the boat with me.
Yeah, exactly.
It was very dead. We ate a 29-inch walleye that night.
Yeah, and you're not like we were trying to do that, but like that happens. And
no, we were like, well,
a lot of people fish walleyes super, super deep, and like sometimes on certain lakes, like it seems like it doesn't happen. Then on other lakes, it's like they are blown out through the moon.
But again, when we talked about this before, I'm like, look at the saltwater game. These guys are catching fish out of hundreds of feet of water and successfully releasing them with descending devices. Granted, I don't know what the survival rate of those fish are, but somewhere along the line, they determined that it was successful. And those fish their full stomach is inside out, with the air bladder pressure on the back of it. And it's like, they're determining that some of those fish are living somehow.
Yeah. What are those fish that
how do they know that they lived?
Yeah,
I don't know. But they're basing regulation on it. So I don't know what studies they're basing on. Like,
I was
releasing groupers and red snapper and stuff.
Yeah, the groupers and red snappers. Yeah,
but
that's where you always see the picture of them.
Yeah,
right. But what I'm saying is like they have enough evidence somewhere along the line that they actually created regulations and equipment to do this. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's required that you have that on your boat. It's not like we think this is a good idea. Like if you're fishing those, you know what I'm saying?
I'd like to see the study.
I don't know.
It could be way different with the physics composition too of saltwater compared to freshwater.
It's still pressure.
I mean, there's still fish.
Yeah,
I know, but I'm just saying it's very different makeup of fish and everything too.
Yeah.
But the reaction is the same, right? You're pulling fish out of super deep water. They're struggling with, the dissipation of that air in their swim bladder. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
so
I wish there was a better like I'm sure that there's organizations out there or whatever that you could be a part of, but it's like I wish there was a spot for like more of this like anecdotal information, like stuff for us to be like, hey, this lake that we go to and we see this in shallow fish too. Like I'm sure we've all experienced this or have places that we could talk about or just have interest in more knowledge. It's like, man, like there almost should be some sort of way that, we can expand on it because these couple studies are getting people's feathers ruffled and get the conversation rolling. But it's like, man, there's a lot of different bodies of water out there. And like just us four sitting here can talk about these different places and how we've seen it happen different than what they're seeing,
Yeah. Well, Doug, next time you talk with Jeremy, tell him that because I know we'd love to be a part of that or being involved in that or whatever with what we do with the Chronicles and stuff. And then I'm sure Sobe'd want to too, but just getting more people involved in that type of thing, because I mean, there's obviously different theories to it all and different water makeups. Right. So I think it's all very different, but I think like we had said originally, when Aaron made the video, I don't think any of us were doubting that Barotrauma was real and everything we were, but I think maybe the way Aaron did it wasn't necessarily crazy. Crazy loved, but he brought up a lot of very valid questions with this study where it was like, I just kind of believed that immediately and probably shouldn't have.
And Aaron being Aaron, that might have been his angle. Like that could have been his long game. Like that man's mind is just wild.
It is. It's crazy.
But I know I'm sure Jeremy would do so. Like Jared's doing some incredible stuff with the musky fishery in Minnesota right now. And like,
that's sweet.
That dude is doing some incredibly hard things that your average fisherman cannot do, like dealing with the state and legislature and all the stuff that we know nothing about and none of us probably will ever know about, and like sitting on certain panels and going through all like literally the government BS that has to go into everything just to try and get some of our musky fisheries turned in the right direction. And obviously there's Barotrauma stuff and forward facing stuff and all this other stuff, but I'm sure Jared would love to talk about it. He's a great conservationist, and Jared just wants what's best for the fish at the end of the day. And I'm a huge fan of Jared. I mean, I think he's got his mind in the right place. I'm sure he would love to talk to you guys on it for sure.
We should have him on the pod sometime. That'd be really interesting. And also, like, he's
you give him a couple beers, he's a really good time.
Yeah, and just like his whole story, like working, that'd be incredible.
Yeah,
Jared's amazing. One of my favorite humans. I mean, I just have a ton of respect for him.
Where's the threshold on Barotrauma with lake trout?
That's a great question. I know. It's insane.
Talk about an impressive fish.
They're the coolest. I think that's like
willingly
honestly
do it.
what makes them like one of the coolest fish. But so I've still seen lake trout struggle.
Really?
Even though they can burp and everything.
I had a lake trout that I caught on Lake Superior this last summer with my buddy Kyle. I caught it out of like 200 feet of water, and it blew up like a freaking hot air balloon and would not swim back down. Wow. I caught 20 other fish that day that freaking just rocketed off, and it looks like they're amazing. But I had one that had like a beautiful 18, 20 pounder and couldn't get the thing to release.
Huh.
What'd you make with it?
Felt like absolute crap. Smoked it.
There you go. Nice.
Just felt like absolute crap. It's such an amazing fish. And I mean, and Lake Superior, I mean, how old is that fish?
Oh, right, dude.
Good God. Like, I mean, lake trout, I think, are just like the most interesting. Those two and muskies for me are just like the most interesting fish that live. But yeah, then even that, like even a fish that can supposedly burp and control its air bladder freaking died on me.
Wow.
And I didn't bring it up with an electric reel, right? Like I had basically a heavy bass rod and a bait caster and a 30-pound braid, and like I wasn't overpowering the thing and just winching it up to the surface. Kyle had some fizz needles. He had caught one that we fizzed and got to release. But like even the fizzing thing, like I just don't like the idea of people sticking needles in muskies, or I mean, obviously it's a thing in bass fishing, but like I just don't like the idea of people sticking needles into fish.
What's funny is that is illegal in Minnesota.
Really?
Cannot fizz a bass in Minnesota.
Well, it's just I don't know. I mean, there's so many more studies that need to be made.
Dude, but I think to your point you made before, like with that muskie study out of Stevens Point, it was like, dude, all these fish are so different. I mean, like people, it's like, dude, they all probably have different freaking health related stuff, and they're differently affected. It's not just like, oh, a crappie's a crappie, and here's how deep you can catch them out of it. It's like, shit, I don't know. Maybe they got freaking different diseases that they can get, or whatever. They got different things that they can develop in their bodies that make them more susceptible to some of those things. I don't know.
And there's oxymorons to all this, because we love going out there and freaking smoking fish in the face. But it's like, that's a crazy statement to make too. You'd be like, well, I really enjoy 4 treble hooks on this big piece of rubber, but if someone was to touch a small finite needle in the back of a muskie, that'd be really freaky. I really enjoy
and actually cut your barbs off because you're in Canada.
Yeah. I like really the stoutest, dopest hooks, the sharpest hooks. I like that in their face. But like if you were to touch them with a needle somewhere, that's where you draw the line.
Then I'm going to cut off the hook
anglers, point. Like, you know what I mean?
Then I'm going to cut off the hook point with a wire cutter because
Like,
well, that's
crazy,
the thing. Yeah, it's like, where do you draw the line? Well, that is one thing I want to play with this year is barbless rubber baits for muskies, because they choke them and it's really hard on them. But I'd like to try it. I don't know if it would, how much of how many more fish you would lose being barbless with rubber baits.
That'd be interesting. If you end up doing it, I'd be cool to hear about it.
I want to play with it. I think I'm going to do it this year on Lake of the Woods, just because I know the one probably isn't swimming in Lake of the Woods. Like I'm still going to have my barbs on in Green Bay right now, but I'll definitely do my study, or just try it out. I just want to know or see like what would happen.
Yeah.
Especially with the rubber stuff, they just eat it so deep versus your straight
Yeah.
retrieve stuff.
Damn. Yeah, dude, this is all good conversation, man. Like,
Yeah.
I think we all, I mean, no matter what the species is, it's like we all just love to fish and we want it to just
Yeah.
keep going and hopefully, you know, all be a part of helping these fisheries and just grow our sport. So I think all conversation is good conversation. And it's like, man.
And we love them the most. We love to hook them in the face the most, but we also want them to live the most. And we want them to spawn the best. We want them to be the biggest. Like the people that kill the biggest deer, they want to grow the biggest deer and they want there to be more deer. You know what I mean? It's like, so there's
nobody cares more about the fish than we do.
100%.
Jacking them in the face.
So there's an oxymoron there, but it's like we love them the most. We love them the most for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys just hit 3 hours. I've only been on for 2.5, but I appreciate all of you.
Wait, if he was here this whole time, we're gonna do one more segment, then we're gonna end it, but we're gonna have him on for this because then we're gonna make Doug try to do this too. So
this will be quick.
This will be quick.
Oh god.
We haven't named this yet. So you're also able to help us name this segment, Doug. But this is to give you a brief description. This is I picked, I think 9 Instagram posts from people in the outdoor media world, and I had my girlfriend read them. So you have to tell me who, or my fiance. Sorry, fiance.
Whoa!
Not anymore.
Timestamp.
God, I am screwed.
So
but you have to tell me who posted them.
Oh God!
You guys can all guess. I got.
Yeah. All right. Bring it. Let's fire it up. Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now. Just give me a second here.
Welcome back to another episode of Alyssa reads Instagram captions. Hashtag title in progress.
All right. You ready? Okay, this will be a good one. We'll start off with this.
Some people just wouldn't understand this feeling. These little green and brown fish run my life, I swear.
All right, starting off hot.
Yeah.
If you would like me to play it again, I can play it again.
And like
you all know this person.
Come on.
I'm sure we do.
You do.
So green, brown.
I know where Bart. You're talking about bass.
Some people just wouldn't understand this feeling. These little green and brown fish run my life, I swear.
And all these posts were made in the last, I would say, probably 2 or 3 months. I can come back to it if you want me.
This one's it's like too.
I had to make them a little trickier because last time you guys got them too easily.
Run my life, I swear. I'll go.
Just tell us. Go ahead.
All right, go.
He's got to get.
Sobe.
I'll go Easton Fothergill out the gate.
Nope.
Just give us this one. Give it.
Oh God, I am so stupid. I thought this was a chick. That's just Bart's fiance reading it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my! I thought it was like an Instagram reel.
No,
okay.
but
No.
It's just
God.
funny when
I
like
was
an
like,
actual person reads the stupid
Musky
stuff
anglers.
that we come up with.
I'll play it one more. I'll play it one more time.
It could be it. Yeah.
Some people just wouldn't understand this feeling. These little green and brown fish run my life, I swear.
No, actually, I'll go with Bart. I think that's Bart.
It was not me.
God, 0 for 2, dude.
Mm.
All right, give us this one.
Maggie Carcello, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
I-
okay.
Boy.
Literally was thinking that.
Yeah, well, you didn't say it, so.
0 points.
Okay, here we go. I think this one will be a bit easier. Sobe and Pink should be able to get this.
Well, that's a wrap for Metro area guide trips for the ice season. Had a blast today with this group. Slammed the crappies and had a pile of laughs.
Matt
Excellent
Johnson.
way to end the guide
Matt
season. And
Johnson.
thanks
That's
to my
Matt
good buddy
Johnson.
Dalton for lending a hand.
Got it before it was even done.
Gotta be.
Gotta be.
All right.
That's electric.
Here's a good one. Okay, we'll see. First, I would like Doug to guess this. I think Sobe and Pink will get it, but we're gonna let Doug guess first.
The build on a Gull Lake walleye never ceases to amaze me. Thick all the way through.
Oh, I got
Yeah,
it.
it's either Hayes or it's freaking McComas.
It was Hayes.
I was gonna say that's Hazer all day. Yeah.
All right, we got another one. All you guys can guess on this one.
Sometimes you just gotta send her. The Chobe Chobe, I don't know, was fishing stingy, so I blasted the bass cat boats through miles of less than 1 inch water to extract some backwater bucket mouths.
Is that Seth?
Nope.
Thank
Is that
God.
Panger? Is that Matt Pangray?
Nope.
I don't know who else runs a bass cap.
Oh,
So-
yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. That's,
You do. You do.
I do.
Yep.
Who the hell is a bass?
You want me to play it again?
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta send her. The Chobe, I don't know, was fishing stingy, so I blasted the bass cat boats through miles of less than 1 inch water to extract some backwater bucket mouths.
Okay. So
Milliken.
Chope.
That Milliken?
Ben Milliken. Good job,
Oh.
Toby.
Oh, that was good.
Okay, this one's very good. She was very excited about this
All
one.
right.
Seems like everyone and their brother has perch fever right about now. It's been fun putting these little porkers on the ice, and you can't beat the ice conditions this year. Seriously. This tanker went for 13 inches long and was wildly obese. She went 1.5 pounds on the scale. Not gonna lie, I've weighed in lighter walleyes on a tournament day a time or two. Pretty cool. Ice big fish like this in the comfort of one of the blah blah blah's fancy wheelhouses too. Thanks to some fishing.
Nick Linder. Nick
Crazy nice
Linder.
clothes.
It was Nick Linder, correct.
I
Yes.
rose my hand, buddy.
I know.
If it was going to go longer, I was going to say Hoyer, but
All right, got another one for you.
Incredible.
20 years ago on the Arctic tundra. Can you kill without camo as a bow hunter? Of course. If the setup is right, like it was for me here on this big barren ground bull, you can also kill with a field point if you hit him in the eye and arrow penetrated to the brain. Not the greatest odds of happening, sort of like trying to close with a bow within bow range of an animal in the wild open, unless you can stay completely hidden until the moment of truth arrives. This was a unique scenario. Why is this still going? End of the story. He shot it.
I gotta say Hoyer on that.
No,
No.
it's like a Tim Wells or something.
you're getting much closer. Much closer, Doug.
Oh, I think I know who it is.
With a field point?
No.
Chancey Walters.
Nope.
Oh,
Just
I know
fuck.
I know who it is. God damn it.
Donnie Vincent?
Yes.
no, but you're
How
super
is it
close.
not Donnie Vincent?
It's not Donnie.
I love Donnie. Oh.
Ooh.
I love that I've stumped you guys on this one, especially because Pink introduced me to this.
Who would if it's not Tim Wells and it's not God damn it. With a field point. And it's a muskox?
No, it was a post about a caribou hunt
Oh, caribou hunt.
in the
I don't know. I'm stumped.
I gave two really good guesses.
Those were you had the
Donnie Vincent. That was a really good guess.
That was the dude wears like flannels to hunt. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Cole.
All right. Are
I'm
you
up.
tapping out?
Yeah, I'm tapped
Yeah,
out.
what do you got?
Cam Haynes.
Oh,
Mm.
nice.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay. I only got a couple more.
I have no idea how that line got wrapped around the pile, but we got her done. For everyone who has been wondering about the fly reel, here's some hook set action. Since the drag on fly reels isn't quite powerful enough on short rods, I had to squeeze the spool with my palm in order to get the hooks in.
I'm not friends with any fly fishermen.
Cody Honor.
I'm kidding.
It was not Honor. That would have been great, though.
It's a center pin.
God,
Yeah.
I did good with these ones. I
See, if it was
you
if it
guys
was a center
compared to
pin,
the
I'd have
last
some.
ones.
If it was a center pin, I'd have some guesses. I have no guesses with a fly reel. I know this person, Bart.
Yeah, you definitely do.
A fly reel. There's a couple of guys at Thorn that fly fish. Does he work at
You
Thorn?
actually potentially know this person better than we do.
What?
Yeah, maybe.
Do they work
could
at
be
Thorn
wrong,
Brothers?
though.
Do they work at Thorn Brothers?
Nope.
What?
Definitely Canadian though.
Jay.
Nope.
That's a good guess.
I'll play it again.
I have no idea how that line got wrapped around the pile, but we got her done. For everyone who has been wondering about the fly reel, here's some hook set action. Since the drag on fly reels isn't
Paul Castellano.
powerful enough on short rods, I had to squeeze this spool with my palm and
All right. You guys definitely have no idea, do you?
No.
Josh McFadden.
Oh, wow.
Josh is a fly guy. He is kind of a fly guy.
He took a
Jesse's-
fly reel out ice fishing.
Oh,
That's what it was. Guarantee you
That's-
saw the post.
what pile? What was it?
I think he misspelled pole in the post.
Oh,
so she
like-
said
like live
pile.
scope pole.
I know. That's what tripped me up. I'm like,
Yeah. All
I
right.
thought Paul Castellano was a good guess.
All right. We'll do this one.
I've had to keep this project under wraps for some time now. Excited for the world to see the hashtag tectonic from Paragon truck bed covers. The team has built something that I think will be a standard moving forward in both mobility, ease of use, and modular storage. Excited for what's to come.
It has the wording for a Hoyer, but it's too short.
We all know this person well.
read it again. Say it again.
Yeah.
God damn, I got you guys this time. I'm happy about this.
We know him well.
I've had to keep this project under wraps for some time now. Excited for the world to see the hashtag tectonic from Paragon truck bed covers. The team has built something that I think will be a standard moving forward in both mobility, ease of use, and modular storage. Excited for what's to come.
Somebody that's way too organized.
Is this Sam Moore?
Pink.
Oh,
Oh,
yes. That is
Let's go.
awesome.
oh,
That was
wow.
good.
That
Good
was
pull.
great.
Good pull, Pink.
Nicely
All
done.
right, I got one more for you boys, and then we're done.
13-degree start for the annual Freeze Your Butt Walleye Tournament on Pool 4. Kept our hands warm enough to sneak out a top 10. Another fun weekend in
I got
River
it.
Rat County.
I got it. Well, I will lock it in.
Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Welcome back to another segment.
Dang,
Always
that was
find those
good.
very I think it's very funny that we can have somebody else read someone's caption and you can pick.
You know
out
what's
who wrote it.
shocking though? The ones that I guessed correctly, as soon as you read it, I can see the picture that was posted, which is kind of fucked up in my head.
Yeah.
It actually is.
You know what else is messed up? Is your fiance sounds like Maggie.
That is kind of crazy, actually.
Well, it's not. So,
That's good.
all right. All right, boys. Well, Doug,
All right.
thank you for coming on Swinging By. We were going to do another segment, but maybe, boys, will we just have to? I don't know.
We're just
maybe
gonna have to apologize. We're gonna save the classic stories for the next pod.
Yeah. And
We'll let them marinate a little bit. They're fresh, you know. Let them
And thank
marinate.
You guys want guide stories. That's what everybody wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
we do. We need to have you back on and have you tell some horror guide stories. That'd be
I have
pretty cool.
one really, really good one that I always tell. When somebody I have a go-to one. When customers ask that question, I have
Hit
a
it.
go-to.
Hit
No,
it.
no,
Yeah,
it's-
I mean, we're already 3 hours and 15 minutes in this fucking.
This better be short.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Nope. Next podcast.
Okay,
All right.
we'll
Bye,
see you in
everybody.
November.
See ya.